Wait. All right, and we're live now. All right, welcome to the Base Pill podcast. All right, episode 3. All right, this man right here is Blackheart. I found one of his videos by mistake and binged everything. Okay, I binged everything. Like he had one quote which had me. I sent this video to my friend. I'm like, bro, this man real. This man real. He said that celibacy should not be the reward for being kind. Something like that. I'm like, oh my God, because in the West, good, caring men, especially black dudes, keep it real, are demonized for being good, caring men. Because women don't want them here, you know what I mean? And these dudes literally have these lifestyle choices, you know what I mean? They're just not wanted here as a man. So they are very celibate for that reason alone. And they think that being celibate somehow should be normalized and just be what you have. But that's not the case. And me and all I talk to are afraid to travel. Okay, you're afraid to go to the countries and don't want to leave the West because you're really conditioned to be here. But this man Blackheart has left the West several years ago. All right, Blackheart, explain why you left the West, man.
To make a long story short, and thanks for the compliment. Now, first off, is my microphone clear on your end?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sweet. All right. So I initially left because, it was a combination of several things. It was religious, and it was also very practical. I formulated the plan to leave, I'd say about the early 2000s. I was new to my religion at that point, and I found out that if you're able to leave and go somewhere that's better for you to be a better human being and a better Muslim, then you're supposed to leave. If you can't leave, then you can't. But if you can, then you do your best to get out. But in the process of formulating that long-term plan, I was because of some things I said in I'll just say it in another space. Because of some things I said, I began to be targeted by some cyber vigilante white supremacists.
Okay.
And so I was let's just say I was able to evade them.
Okay.
But eventually, some of them somehow were able to dox me, and they actually got a photograph of my brother, and they thought he was me, and they sent that to taunt me. So I told them, listen, do not go after anybody else. I'm related to him, but that's not me. So here's a photograph of me. And so the thing is, I'm not out to harm any of you, but I understand that some of you are out to harm me. So if you're going to do something, leave the other one alone, leave everybody else alone. This is what I look like, and I'm not going to bother anybody until you all mess with me. But some of them, they're really loudmouths, and they'll tell you the things that they're doing. So I realized, well, these things they have planned, they're actually pretty dangerous. It explained to me how some other people were getting picked up for things they didn't do. So I laid low. And that's why that's the reason that I don't come on here with my real name and my face.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of me. Actually, I'm now away, but I still have relatives that are back stateside. So in order to avoid them being targeted, I maintain privacy. But the other thing too was that while I was formulating the plan to carry it out, you have to get your credentials and you got to get you had to get more credentials, become more certified. And as I was teaching in the States, I realized that this was more urgent than what I thought. I was looking at the way that the kids were in the schools once I got to that student teaching phase. And I realized the entire educational system and the homes were broken. There's nothing you can do to save a nation when it's that far gone.
The funny thing is, I taught, pause really quick, my apologies. I taught in the school system as well for the schools, this program, at the school program, and I saw the same exact problems you did, the exact same ones, and it was horrible. It was horrible, man, it really was. Like these kids literally are in these broken homes with no daddies, even the white ones. Mama's out here cheating with the gardener, they're wealthy and stuff, and just the things they're taught are just not true and stuff at all. And what kills me too is that nowadays that hypergamy is so wild with women at a young age. Because things like TikTok, social media, these little behind girls are like 14, 15, right? And these grown behind men are like, you look so good, girl, you look great. So little behind girls don't want to do their age at all anymore, at all. It's insane, man. It was insane. We continue though.
Well, I'm assuming that you're younger than I am based on your appearance, and it could very well be that that's what it was. Now, the last time I was in a United States classroom was a little over 6 years ago. But what I saw in the public school system, it was pretty bad. I even taught in a Muslim school in the Southeast.
Wow.
I taught in two, but in one of them, one of the Muslim schools, the last one I taught in, it was all the funny. This is the funny thing; they were all Africans and a few Iraqis, a few. I mean, like two Iraqi
Okay.
children. Everybody else was from Africa, mostly East, some Western. So I was looking at my own kind, and
Yeah.
I saw that I saw that as Muslims and as Africans, their behavior generally was better. We had one
Yes.
really lazy kid, but when I taught at the one that was people of all backgrounds, um, it was worse. When I was
Yes.
teaching, see that, and I'm gonna tell you what it was. When I was teaching at the one for the Muslims of all backgrounds, I saw that the ones from the Arab world, the ones from the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, not even so much Bangladesh, specifically India and Pakistan and the Arab world, they seem to want to follow Massa, if you will, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
They wanted to follow Zaddy. Since they wanted to follow Zaddy, I saw where this was going to go. Well, I saw that the administration was doing the same thing. They wanted to emulate everybody else except us. And so, and when I say us, I mean they didn't want to emulate us racially, and they didn't want to emulate our whole religious group either. They wanted specifically to emulate that Western white man. And the school was failing. It wasn't going to be able to stay open longer. So I realized that it was more urgent to leave than what I previously thought. And so I lucked up. I filled out a job application. I didn't even finish the application before I got interrupted. And the next day, I got a phone call offering the gig. So I got on top of the process, got the paperwork together. I sent off the passport to the appropriate embassy for the right, for the visa that allows you to work.
Yeah.
And I came here, I landed, and I've been trying to fight the good fight since about maybe a year after landing.
Yeah, because even my non-black listeners too say the same exact problems. Like the same problems here. It's like everyone here in the West I talk to, they're going to the same problem when it comes to the culture. Because it's so bad here. You know what I mean? It's really awful. Now for you, Blackheart, okay, you've been out the West now for a couple of years. All right. Let's compare a few things. All right. First off, I keep being told so much. Oh, you get the foreign girl, she gonna use it for your money. Use it for your money, you know what I mean? It's not safe, bro. It's not safe, bro. So tell me, Blackheart, as someone who's married to a non-Western woman, is this the case? Explain how it works in a non-Western world. What happens?
Well, the thing to remember is that when you step outside of the West has its distinctions. However, the other cultures also have their distinctions. They have a few things in common, but they do have their distinctions. So it'll depend on into which one you step.
Okay.
The specifics will be, but what everyone must start with is that they have to leave behind the sexual liberalism that they came up with in the West, but they also have to leave behind the opposite of sexual liberalism, which is when you're too sexually conservative to the point that you wouldn't be a good spouse. You leave both extremes behind. That's one of the things to understand. You don't
Oh,
expect. You see, you have to leave both behind. I
okay.
mean, so that means that even in conservative cultures, there may be jokes about the things that happen between spouses, but these are jokes, and it's and the concept of the joke is within a marriage.
Yeah.
So if you are so when you show that sort of respect for modesty, but you also can take a humorous approach to the subject, that goes over very well. So that's the first thing to understand. Now, as to which culture you're going, that's going to determine the specifics of what you will do after that point.
Okay.
So I'm
Pause
not
real
going to
quick.
tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Pause real
not going to
quick.
say to you that trying
Yeah.
to impress a woman in Thailand is the same as trying to impress
Yeah.
her right next door in Malaysia or Indonesia,
I got a
as an
question
example.
though. I got a question. I've
Yes.
been told, okay, by a few black men that India is not that bad, bro. You should go to India. You should go to India. Now, Blackheart, be real. Should black men go to India?
I haven't been to India, but I I can't really sit up here and tell you that black men. Um, I can't sit up and say that black men should go to India right now because I do know this. They are there are cases right now where black men are being beaten, And they're usually they are African, not so much African American,
Yeah,
but there have been cases where they were beaten. I don't think that it's throughout the whole country, to be fair to to be
yeah.
honest. Um, but they, when it does happen, there's not a guarantee that they're going to catch whoever did it. You do have black men going for study. You do have some
Yeah.
men from, let's say, Eastern Africa that do marry local women. But I just don't have enough information to say with a clear conscience, listen, black man, go to India. I would say if you get a good job offer, go ahead and take it,
Okay.
learn that particular city, and then get back to me and tell me, and I'll share the info, just to be fair.
'Cause I've been heard mixed things, like very, very mixed things about India personally. I've heard avoid it, and I've heard it's bad, not a bad thing it is. Um, Another thing I've been told I want to ask you about as well is that okay, in the West, when you are a man, okay, they really expect us to just take any girl ever because standards here obviously for women have been raised because they're not big as hell. All of a sudden they're above average, for example. But even if they're big as hell, they expect you to be with them. But in other cultures, that's not the case at all. You know what I mean? Other cultures, I've talked to people, it's like, no, they don't get big as hell over here. They don't get big as hell. So explain to you, as someone who experienced other cultures, what's it like, I would say, dating women over there? Like single mom, for example, single moms. Like how
Um,
they treat them, how they treat single moms, excuse me.
I will say this: where I live, and I live in the Gulf. I
Okay.
shouldn't say exactly which country, but I do
You're
live in
good, don't worry.
the
You're
area
good.
of the Gulf. Now, here, the single moms are usually either divorced or widows. They're not most men and women here are not single parents because they fornicated. So I'm not saying people don't fornicate, but it's very private. You don't say that you did it. If you do, you certainly don't say this anywhere near a police officer or around your parents. And usually, the children are not conceived through that because they'll do what they can to avoid a conception. Um, and there are some orphanages, so chances are the child will be left at an orphanage if they are conceived through fornication. Most single parents here come about through a divorce or through a death of the other spouse. So that's really, in that case, the women aren't necessarily seen as sluts anyway because they're single mothers. It's just that some men are okay with it.
Oh.
You see, so they're not. Some men are okay with it, some are not. Usually, what does not happen though is that I'll tell you what doesn't happen. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's just something that the people tend to prefer. And friends will come along and they sort of reinforce this with each other, and that is that a young man who has not been married before, it's assumed that he is a virgin, is not expected to go first marriage in with a single mom, especially if she was
Mm.
that's just not expected. They don't expect that from him because they say, well, that's a burden. Now, if he's already married,
Wow.
yeah. Now, if
See,
he's already married,
wait, pause. Hold on a second. You see, this is why I say what I say. Okay, in other cultures, they understand that single moms are low tier women. The women understand this too, not the widows, of course, or the men. That's different. As in just women in general who get knocked up by anyone, any chat room in the West. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry, girl. You're good. You're good, girl. No, what do you mean? My kids aren't baggage. But he's explained to you in other cultures that that's not the case at all. They punish that over there. They don't reward that behavior. Well, here in the West, they reward it. Big difference. Big difference.
well,
Black art.
to be clear and to be fair, they punish being a slut for the
Yes.
man or for the woman.
Yes.
Now, just having children in the marriage and then someone dies or divorce is not necessarily penalized. However, it is understood that she is not in a position to come along and say that she demands the same thing as the lady that has not been married before and never had any babies. That's understood. It's not that they blame her per se, unless she was just a slut that fornicated, or unless there's proof that she drove her husband away.
Yes.
However, she's not going to get first preference. They usually can still find someone, but he's a single dad, or he's
Yes.
already married to another wife. Because here, up to four wives are legal at one time. So it's understood. Then he still has to treat her fairly if she's the second or third or fourth wife. So he has to treat them equally. That's okay. But she's just not in a position to say, I've got these kids and I want a man that doesn't have any babies to come
Like
and
here in the
raise them.
West. Like here in the West.
Right. That's not going to fly over here. That will
This is
not
why
fly.
I say what I say, people. This is why I say what I say. This This is what I mean. Men, you are literally in the West fighting for scrap bottom tier women and think that's okay and normal. I got quote unquote incels on my channel who are depressed as hell because they are fighting for scrap women. I keep telling them, listen, bro, if you go to other culture, that's not how it is at all. I'm telling you, it's your location, man. It's your location. Blackheart is telling you firsthand how it's in his country alone. Imagine other cultures as well. That doesn't fly over there. Continue, Blackheart.
So it's just to say that for the most part, I will say that I'm lucky because where I live, we have a reputation for a lot of double standards. But where I live, actually, it's not like that. It's not where it's not really double standards. Everybody has their rights. Everyone's got their responsibilities.
Wait. Repeat that. So the women have responsibilities and rights too. They got both of them.
They got both. Yeah, they do.
Oh my God. Well,
yeah, so do the men.
Oh my! Wow.
Yeah, and the men do too. I mean, just to give an example, if a husband hits his wife here, she can take him to court and take him for 50,000 units of the local currency. And now, as much as how far that is in dollars, let me just put it to you like this: 50,000 local currency. That's going to be well over. It's going to be more than 10,000 US that she can get out of the husband if he hits her. And so now it wasn't always like that, but yeah, I'm just saying that to say that they're not here being oppressed, but they're not in a position to oppress the men that easily. Now, one thing that does happen here to give a complete picture, you pay a dowry to get married. The husband pays a dowry to get married because he is the head of household. And that's the first step in paying the cost to be the boss. It's understood he has to be the boss, but he has to pay the cost, part of the responsibilities and rights. Now, what does happen at times on a personal level, not on a systematic level, but on a personal level, is the dowries are very expensive throughout the board. I mean, across the board. It's very expensive to get married, unless, of course, she's a widow or she's a divorcee. Kids are not. But if she has not been married before, generally speaking, they're going to request a very high dowry. And that's expensive. The men here usually take out loans to be able to afford it. And the women here are known to be very spoiled, not rebellious. Don't get it confused. They're not known to be rebellious, just spoiled. That's the reputation that the local men say. Now, when this happens, in the marriage, the man is already in debt. He starts off in debt. Then she usually makes demands. The women here are known to shop, to spend their husband's money completely so that he cannot save up for a second wife. So they have the things that they do. They do that. But what the men are doing is what they used to do previously, and then they could not do it before. Now what they're doing is they're leaving the Gulf. They're not just leaving the specific country. They're leaving the Gulf, marrying women from other countries where the dowries are not expensive, and they're bringing them back more and more. And so, again, the local women, they're stuck where they were over a decade ago, where they're going to have to compete with women who will get married for lesser dowries, not overspend and keep their husbands in debt, and will actually listen to them and obey them more. So the competition.
Wait. So you're telling me the women over there gotta compete for men? They gotta compete for them?
Well, they have to, and it's starting back up. It used to be the case about the 90s. Up to the 90s, it was that way, and it's starting back now because the men were held captive by the law here to a certain extent. Men under 30 could not leave and get married abroad easily. They had to have like some kind of disability to get a license to go and marry women from abroad. But now that's changing. The women can marry men from abroad, and the men can marry women from abroad more easily and with less paperwork and red tape. So these men are saying, you know what, screw that. We're going to go to Egypt. We'll go to not so much Yemen now. That's a hot spot, but they're just like, we'll go. Usually it's like they'll go to the Mediterranean, one of the countries that has a Mediterranean coastline where the economy is not that strong. Marry a woman there, pay less of a dowry, bring her back in. And so now, yes, now there is competition, and the ladies don't like that. But by the same token, they can leave.
Yeah, but they're trying to fall in line, aren't they?
They're what now?
Trying to fall in line. I mean, like trying to fall in line to compete with the men.
Well, what they're trying to do, they're trying not to drive the men away to at least that much. But what the other thing is too is that they also can leave. They can't marry a man that's not Muslim, but they can marry a man who makes a certain amount and it is Muslim. So they're giving the men a run for their money as well. However, it is not the same way. It is not, they can't give them in the same run because there's still an income requirement that men have to meet. So it pretty much has to be specifically a Western Muslim, which is a small demographic. So they can, they can give the local men a run for their money. They can say, look, I'll marry a man from another Gulf nation, or I'll marry one of these Westerners here. So the pool is expanded. The men also have to step it up. Don't get me wrong, but they can't hold the men to the same level of competition.
Right, pause. Man, listen, dog. Everyone, like this video, okay? Like this video. This is so powerful, okay? This is just proof that in the West, we are literally competing for like scraps. Drop a like, y'all. Drop a like it. Like video. Like it. He's giving y'all raw, uncut information. This is raw from being in a non-Western society. Meanwhile, over here, what are we doing over here? There is no competing to do better. No, we don't compete here. We're expected to just take anything. But that's not normal in other civilizations, in countries. It's not normal, y'all. This is why I say what I say for a reason. Y'all expect to fight for scraps here, for bottom tier, bad choices in life. But somewhere in a non-Western country, there is more balance. It is not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It is not perfect. But this as an option is still valid to y'all. Continue, Blackheart.
Fair enough. So now I want to answer. They live is true. He's asking about getting citizenship. And this is true in the Gulf in general. If a foreign woman marries a local man and she's married to him for a certain length of time, and they differ in that length of time, she can get a passport eventually in the mail, which allows her to stay forever. Men, and this is where they take care of women in a way they don't take care of men. Foreign men do not get passports. They can live legally under certain conditions, but we do not ever expect to get a passport. It's not, they don't say at any point, you're now a son of the soil here. They don't say that. It may change in the future, but right now that's all we have. There was a move recently to extend citizenship to those who have expertise in some of the hard sciences. But I don't know what the requirements are because it's not my field. But they'll look after women. If the woman, but then again, she has to be married to a local man for a certain length of time and look after him. If she does not run him off, she can get citizenship, stay here forever. She doesn't have to resettle.
Okay, so men, let that sink in. She must not run the man off. So she must fall in line to a degree. In the West, does not happen. Listen, that's why I tell y'all, man, in a non-Western civilization, a non-Western country, there are rights and responsibilities. There is balance. There is risk. There's all these things which the women are expected to do as well as the man. But in the West, they're rewarded for pretty much having a vagina. Let's keep it real. They have a bunch of kids. Don't worry, there's some welfare. Don't worry, you get big as hell. You can still get a man. Still get married. You get divorced, here's some alimony. You know what I mean? For life. Here's the house. Oh, the good man? Oh, I want him. No. I want Chatterone. I want to have chats for babies. No, don't worry. But Blackheart is telling you, in other countries, they are not, listen, it is not perfect, people. But the option, is still better than here. It's still better than UK, better than Canada, better than America, better than Australia, better than New Zealand. Okay? Where we live at, if you are a non-select man, they expect you to be the beta backup. Okay? Beta backup. Take care of the Chester kids, which is like 30. All this nonsense. But Blackheart is telling you that in other countries, there is a clear guideline, a clear rubric which both parties must follow. See, Blackheart?
Yes. Yeah, both parties do. It is more, I'll say that it is more balanced, both legally and culturally. That's just the expectation. I will say this. I've described to some people here what it's like when you're coming up in the West. And I described this to them even before I knew about, let's say, a black manosphere, which is what I'm in.
Okay.
Before I knew about that, Now I knew about red pill, but I didn't necessarily know about a black manosphere. But when I got here, it was about 2014, and I told him what it's like stateside, and in the West in general. And many of them were they were shocked. They were thrown for a loop. Some people were not necessarily shocked because they had seen television and they had seen where women strike men and the audience laughs. Um,
Yes.
and they had, and one of the things one man said, I've never seen. Um, he said, I've never seen anybody here. I've never seen a lady strike a man unless it's the mother disciplining her son. Um, but on TV, I see these women strike these men, and the audience will laugh. It's like it's funny. And I told him, well, in actuality, ever since I've been a little child, we were told don't hit girls, but nobody ever told them don't hit men. And I it was funny because I was riding with my closest friend one day in between two cities, and he raised he answered a phone call from his wife, and then he raised his voice. Now I didn't understand everything they were saying because he was using a local slang, but when he finished, he switched back to the standard Arabic, and we were conversing, so I understood most of what he said. And I said, look, I hope you're okay. I'm not trying to butt in or anything, um, but anyway, I didn't understand what y'all talking about. I just know that you were angry and that it was between y'all. And he said, have you ever in the States, did you ever hit your wife? And I told him, no, no, accidentally, yeah. She knew it was an accident, but intentionally, no. And he told me, in 20 years of marriage, I've only had to hit her one time. And I kind of flinched because I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
But I said, well, are you sure it was necessary? And he told me, I think we're still married because I did it.
Wow.
So
That's really interesting.
yeah,
That's
and the
really
thing was,
interesting.
yeah, it seemed like it. Now, it gave me an insight into their mindset. I was never going to promote striking them myself. I
Same
said
here.
to him, I said to him, well, what happens if you just leave it? Do you think that will make a stronger impact? But I didn't know how to say impact correctly in the language, so I wasn't able to translate the question correctly. So he dismissed it. He couldn't answer it because he couldn't understand it. But so I didn't get a chance to compare that answer. But I can say that there's an idea here that they simply will not exercise the same intellect that we will, and I'm not saying that they can't, but they are very convinced that they simply will not, whether they can or not. They're all convinced that they will not exercise the same intellect. So the funny thing is, they actually study more. Academically speaking, they're much better students than the males are, as a whole,
Hmm.
as a whole. And this is going to sound very familiar. In the classrooms, um, they come in a mix: the lazy, the studious, but more of them are studious, and they don't hold back the ones of them who want to study. But in the male classrooms, in the grade school level, oh man, in the male classrooms, especially grade school from K to 12, they hold back the students that want to study, just like what you and I have seen over there
Yes.
stateside. Right. That does happen. And it made me think, okay, see, they're being slick, they're being smart. They realize that education is power, so they want to get the education, and they're not telling these guys, look, if you don't get it, we're done with you. They're not saying that. They're just letting the guys hold each other back and encourage each other to be good at football, meaning soccer, but not
Yeah.
academically good. So, and now what's happening is that a lot of them are taking the workforce. Um, yeah, a lot of them are they're becoming wider in number in the workforce. And I'm not going to sit there and tell the guys any different. I'm gonna let them go that route they want to go. But the men wised up in within the last about 2.5 years. The men, especially in any medium-sized city, they wised up, and they said, if we don't get our education and get some kind of skill set, there will be no marriage, and they will run off. They'll leave the country, and they'll marry everybody but us.
Like
That is,
Iran. Yeah, like Iran
uh,
to a degree. Yeah.
um, I'm not sure about what happened there. We don't really get much news from Iran over here, but they pretty much did decide, we're not going to be last pick. These men here did say we're not going to be last choice to anybody. We're not going to come in second fiddle. Already, the local women are saying that they don't want to marry local men. This is already something that some of them have started to say. it's not terribly widespread, but it's a known phenomenon. And I
But
mean,
there's shit happening, yeah.
even my wife, she was asked before she and I got married. Her students in the end of the spring began to ask her, "Do you have brothers that are single?" Now she's not from the Gulf. She's not an Arab. She is
Yeah.
East African, and
Yeah.
but they know that she has U.S. citizenship. They asked her, "Do you have brothers that are single?" That was the question, and some of them told her, "We don't want to marry local men because they're not responsible, they're lazy," and so I began to see the pattern. And the
Interesting.
funny thing, but it's the U.S. It's living in the U.S. that gave me the experience to see what's going on, what this pattern is.
Yes.
Um,
You
and
see the
so,
westernization a little bit. So it is. You see the
yes,
westernization a little bit. It's
yes.
unfortunate, man. It really is sad. But it, my thing is okay as well. Okay, Blackheart. All right. Now here's the thing. I've been told over and over and over again. Oh, the women over there don't look that much better than over here. Don't look that much better. Blackheart, you've been out in the U.S. Let them know right now. Do the women look better in the non-West than the West? They get big as hell, for example. Where about the crazy makeup?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna say this.
Let them know,
Um,
man. Let them know.
in the Gulf, most of the time, most of the time, they do look. If you're talking about size, generally, yes. Um, Now, where I lived in the northern stretch of the country in which I'm living,
Yes.
and now they did have an obesity problem there.
Yes, because
Um,
I know what they're talking about. Yes.
yeah, the diet is heavily westernized.
Yes. They're,
So that was an issue, but then again, they covered. So I really didn't get to see much of what they looked like anyway. I would say that in overall terms of beauty, they're all over the spectrum. The gorgeous, the ugly, everything in between. But as I've been to other nations and other cities in the Gulf region, I have seen that they've looked better. When I went to Malaysia, I saw that they look better than in the West. When I went to let's see, when I went to South Africa, I saw everything, the good, the bad. But I did notice their behavior is better. They don't
there we
try to act
go.
like men. They do not try to
And
act
there you
like men.
go. There you go. Okay, because my homeboy went to East Africa a while back ago, a couple of years back. He told me they were so well behaved, and they're black because he's black. You know what I mean? He threw him off. It threw him off. He thought they're gonna be like like over here in the West, cause the skin tone. I'm like, but they were kind, well behaved. He said they look better too. So understand the power of culture. Culture is so poisonous, right? What you guys think is normal in the West, the attitudes, if you're white too, by the way, the attitudes, the nagging, whatever, being big as hell for no reason, like the Lizzo-ism. No, that's not normal over there. It's not normal. They expect you to be a certain way because of the culture. They expect women to be a certain way because of the culture. The men too. Even places like Rio, even places like Peru and Colombia, okay? The way that they are over there versus here is not the same for a reason, people. Which is my point. Way too many of y'all who I talk to are trapped in y'all city, your town, your country. I understand, because that's all you know. So you think that the whole world is the same way. No, it's not. It's not the same. Many also, Blackheart, let them know right now. Good, I mean, you know what I mean by I say good men, okay? Good, caring, supportive men who are average at best on a global spectrum. Can they find a partner over in a non-Western country?
Did you say non-Western?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. As far as I can make out, they could.
See, that's what I mean. See, men I talk to who are good, caring, nice behind dudes, but they're more average on the spectrum, get nothing here, or they're getting backup, in the backup plan. But in other countries, that's normal from the beginning of the partner because they expect them to be a certain way. Like for example, okay, Blackheart, Chad Rome with 3 kids, okay, the film Philip, okay, Philip ain't having a good behind wife like that. He's not having it, or having women like that. It's not happening. But in the West, it happens here. Felon Philip, okay, domestic violence Derek. These people have all the kids, and then the good men get nothing here. They're told to, well, at least you got the single fat behind mom of 4 kids. You have someone. That's your fault. No. Oh, too bad. Too bad. This is why I tell y'all, men. Okay, understand. Please understand your situation of quote unquote being an incel. Okay, because I'm base pill, I'm very the black pill. It's not globally normal. Okay, it is not globally normal. Your situation in life, your depression, your anxiety, you feel trapped, you feel unattractive for being a good, caring, upbeat, well clean man is being punished here in the West. Because you're not Chad Light or Chad Roan. But in a non-Western country, you will get rewarded for your, for example, looks matching, okay? Taking care of yourself, being very clean cut. They reward you for being that way. Understand this. You take black art.
Well, a lot of it is a lot of the things that exist in one place. Like I said, a lot of the things that exist in the West do exist even here and in other nations that have different cultures from where I am. But the patterns, see, these things may exist, but they're not as far going. They're not nearly as exaggerated. They're more subdued and rare. To give an example, I recently took a vacation to Malaysia, and I've got a buddy there. He went through a scenario in which he was being cheated on, and then after I left and came back here to start work, he sent photos where he had bruises because not his ex, but his ex's sister showed up and attacked him.
Wow.
And she attacked him because the ex told the sister that he left her for someone else, when in fact, really, she had driven him away. He didn't talk to her for months. They were over. They were through. And then when he met someone right before my vacation began, he and her clicked. And the way that they got together was that they hung out once because they hung out once for health reasons. But when my wife and I were there, he said, "I got to go pick up these tourists that are visiting, and they're actually friends. They're not just customers." She said, "Well, hell, I'm a certified tour guide. I can give them a tour." So they hung out with us, her giving the the tour. You understand?
Yes.
So that's how they became close. Now they're beginning to discuss a future together, if you will, because dating is not there like it would be here. It's understood people like each other, but if that's the case, you discuss marriage. That's how it works. You introduce each other to the parents.
Wait. Hold on. Pause. So there is no, he's going too fast. Marriage. This man's crazy.
Well, it may be in other cultures, but
yes.
See, Malaysia is 60% Muslim overall. And so it's if you're a practicing Muslim, it doesn't mean you're not going to like someone of the other gender. It just means that if you do like someone and they like you, then the view is marriage, because dating is for married people. See, people think that
repeat that. Okay, let them know. Repeat that one more time.
Okay, well, in our religion, dating is for married people. So so in that regard, and I mean dating in a secluded context where you and her, you're by yourselves.
Yes.
When they hung out, they were with me and my wife, so they weren't by themselves. But they had a reason that they were both with us. Then they began to like each other, and so they're meeting each other's family. They're in the process of meeting each other's families at this point. But the thing is that when he went through this, and he sent me the photos of the bruises, I asked him, listen. I asked him twice, once when I was there and then once after the bruises, how normal is this treatment that you got from the lady that you were engaged to previously? And he said to me, that treatment is very rare. It's not known commonly. We know it exists, but the people who would do it are rare. And the other thing, this is very important. I want the audience to understand. He said that when women act like his ex-fiance act, it is understood that they got this influence from Instagram, Snapchat.
There you go. This is why I say what I say. In a nutshell, I've been saying for a long time, okay, that Snapchat, dating apps, social media, that is the multiplier of the poisonous of Western culture to women here. And he's showing you, he's telling you firsthand, okay, what happens in a raw state. Okay, that's a raw state. As in, the woman is not Western, this happens to them. Imagine how this here. How this here? Because here they're born and raised Western, okay? Because they're born and raised Western, what happens? It's even worse here. I continue, Black Card, man. Continue, man.
Well, that's the gist of it. Now this man, I also want the audience members to understand. this man is not by any stereotype. I'm not giving credence to the terms alpha and beta being used for human beings because they were coined by two men that studied wolves, and both of them came to the same false conclusion, and both of them corrected their conclusion. So I'm not saying that we should use alpha and beta with regards to men unless you're simply explaining how they're viewed by the women. However,
I use it for personally, me, I use it for primology because I study primates and stuff. And there is between, if you look at primates, between go alpha and beta primate. But the thing is, okay, the thing, even if you were to, like, let's say use that system on a global scale, that's not the case. You know what I mean? Not the case.
Yeah,
not the case.
That's what we're saying, and that's what I wanted to say to R0W MUFC. I'm talking about when you leave. I'm not saying that there aren't some men that women like to look at, and there are some men that women don't like to look at. But the thing is that over here, women are free to assess a man based on multiple things, including how they like to look at him, how he looks to her. They're allowed to do that. Whereas in the States, and then not just the States, but Canada and the UK as well, and certain islands in the Caribbean, they're embarrassed if they pick a man and her friends don't like him.
Yes.
This is what.
Yes.
This is what I. Yeah. This is a lot of it is not necessarily that they're looking and saying, okay, that's one of the main reasons that they may be hot first for you and then they go cold. A lot of times it's just as simple as the friends decided, no,
yes,
you don't do that. It doesn't matter how you feel. We need you to make us all look good by getting this and only this. So, so what I'm saying is that you can use alpha and beta in a certain context, but you have to understand where it does not apply. And
yes,
and there's no genetic proof that the women are going to look at only the same men all the time everywhere you go, because they're not under pressure to do it. In the West, they are pressured to only.
Yeah. Okay. I can explain that. I can explain that. Okay. So
to be fair about the terms, what I was getting at was that that here, this man, this buddy of mine, under no stereotype is he a beta. He looks after himself. He's a little short for the men where he lives, but there are plenty of short people because the heights range where he lives. I was actually one of the taller people when I was there, but there were guys that were my height too. So because the heights are all over the place, you can't really say, oh, it's because he was short. No, that's not why. It was because of what she had been exposed to. That was what caused this behavior, not him. It wasn't. I mean, he's in shape, young cat. He's only got about 2 gray hairs on each side of his head. He was nice to look at, as far as women would say. He's got more facial hair than most of the men of his background do. So he's not. It was not something about him that made her do this. She was a gold digger, and she wanted to be able to show off to her friends. But her friends were also a shallow group of people, and he tolerated this because her family and his family have a friendship that goes back generations. So on the outside, it looked good that they would be together. But you know, he when he was able to prove that she had cheated more than once, he was done with it. It wasn't him. In the West, you guys are being told, okay, you're getting these results because of something you're not doing or something you're doing. Because you don't have the ability to read minds. You're not psychic. That's why.
This is why, okay, I had a video yesterday, a stream for educational reasons, that talked about lookism and select versus non-select men, shadow, whatever. And I broke down that literally on the global spectrum, men who are, let's say, below average still get chosen in choosing signals. So in non-Western countries, that's normal. That men who are, let's say, below average still get choosing signals. But in the West, that's not the case at all here. If you're average, okay, on the global spectrum in the West, you get nothing here. They just ignore you because they can. They put you out. They be Blackheart. They be nasty, big as hell. You know what I mean? Talking about, well, I don't know, man, because they literally are used to getting attention from so many men on a regular basis, especially even the top men. That's all they want here. The men that are very, very tall, strong behind jawline, hunter eyes. Oh my God, it's like they want these same men. But in other countries, because they're less westernized, and our polygamy is less off the rails, it's not regular all there. It's not regular. Women, that's what I mean. Okay, listen, many of y'all, again, think that y'all are unselect men, okay? because you are in your city, your town, whatever. Because your town wants, for example, Toronto, Canada, Toronto, LA, even Chicago, all right, even Brooklyn and Manhattan, okay, London. These extreme Western country cities, okay, for example, demand men that are so unrealistic, but the women be so bottom tier. In Malaysia, not the case. Colombia, not the case. Peru, not the case. The Gulf, not the case. This is why I tell y'all, okay, location is so important. Location is move the baseline, okay? You go from quote unquote below average in your city to now you're average. It's that extreme, or it's not above average as well, because you're a good, caring man. For example, my homeboy, all right, went to Peru. I think Peru or was it Rio? I think it was one of these two. I asked him later, all right? They told him, all right, the women were not like, oh, this man's ugly, you know, he's average, no, he's average, or she can do way better. No, they're like, oh, he probably treats her so well. He probably really kind to her. So other countries, when a man with a woman, they're like, how's he treat her? But in the West, it's like, listen, girl, you can do so much better. So much better. But the girl like big as hell too. But you know what I mean? It is not the same at all, people. It is not the same. So y'all are conditioned with women who really are from, I would say, childhood. Pick men off of swiping left, swiping right. Is he cute? Is he cute? Oh my God, is he cute? But other countries value men on a whole different level, people. This is why I have Blackheart here today, which y'all see understand this concept. Please understand this concept. Please do. He's telling you firsthand how it is in other cultures for a reason. The U.S., Canada, whatever, that is not the only option for you. It is not. You can leave. It's okay. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, when we have to understand too that in the West, when they say, "Oh, is he cute?" They don't necessarily just mean would he be cute to me. What they're really saying is he cute to all of you?
Exactly. It's Instagram, it's Snapchat. You know what I mean? Continue.
Right. It's more. It's competitive. It's very ego driven. Now, it took me a while to come to understand that because, of course, they quick to tell us that we're the ones with the egos as men. But in reality, what I've come to find out is that in recent years, at least in my generation, and I was born in the 70s, is that their decisions are oftentimes very ego-driven, even more so than ours. Now, we can say that as teenagers, we may both go through that because teenagers are very status conscious.
Yes.
But what the difference is, we are forced to outgrow that because we're told how immature we are anyway growing up. So we're not allowed to assume that we're acting our age as far as they are concerned. Nobody's forcing them to outgrow these teenage phases. We're making it too easy. I mean, and that to a certain extent, that's the fault of us as men.
Yes.
I mean, you've got grown-ass men chasing behind these little underage adolescent teenagers.
Yes,
and
TikTok.
Even though those men are, exactly. Now, those men are sick and they're rare. They're not very common. But because that same one, he may pursue 35 of them. All of them are going to get attention from this small number. And so in their minds, because all of them have these stories to share, in their minds, men are sick, men are too easy, men are sleaze bags. And so they're, so as far as anybody can tell, as far as we men or as far as they can tell, if you don't know these numbers, we're too easy, we're a nuisance. And so therefore they don't really have to grow up.
Yes.
The difference is when you step out, when you go elsewhere, you go into areas that have not been industrialized for as many generations. It's like Amari Antique said in the chat, men cannot have standards for women in the West. But see, when you step away, they can have standards, but you also can have standards. And both of you have to act like adults for the most part.
There's 18 of y'all, 19 y'all watching this live stream, listening to this live stream, this podcast. Drop a like, okay? Like it, man. Like it, okay? This man is giving y'all the raw, uncut truth. What happened when you left the West, okay? The truth that they hide from y'all on purpose. They expect you to stay in the West, to deal with anything, to deal with any woman. Like the video. Like it, man. Like it. Hear Blackheart?
And hit that share button, you all too. All of you know someone that may want to learn something about it. all of you may know another subscriber of the Base Pluto. So hit the share button. That's even more important because the message is more important than the messenger.
Always, man, always. That's the point of my channel. Like, this is literally why my channel exists. I literally go down the same exact result almost every video. It is not normal what we deal with here on a global spectrum. And listen, we're not saying that the non-Western civilizations, countries, are perfect. That is not what we're saying. What we are saying is that literally y'all are so brainwashed here to accept trash. For example, okay, I was on Twitter a lot, and I said things like, why the hell would a man pay for a date for the chance to be with a woman? Meanwhile, Chatterone is in them cheeks or is beating them cheeks raw for free. I was told it doesn't matter what she does with Chatterone versus the man. If he took her out, she should pay. I'm like, what? Are you serious? So they literally moved the goalpost here for men who are not Chatterone, not chat like these top tier dudes. But in other civilizations, there is no quote unquote top tier dude. Just dudes. There's more understanding. Okay? If the woman is going out being a whore, and the cultures, they know who she is. There is no dates. Girl, listen. Okay? But in the West, they will reward women, okay, for certain behaviors that other places don't do at all. This is why I keep telling y'all, okay? Y'all literally are competing for trash for a reason. Because you're brainwashed to. Black card is telling y'all, they go together, they date, there's understanding, communication. It's not perfect. But this whole like chattering in the cheeks, raw, we got to pay for a date for the chance that you might get the girl, and she curves you, flakes on you, ghosts you, because you want chatter. No, it doesn't happen. It's not happen. That's not normal over there. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, there is such a thing as even here there is such a thing as a top tier. However, it's understood that top tier is small in number and very rare. Now, the difference is that not everybody feels entitled to get into that top tier.
Repeat that, man. Repeat it.
Not everyone, I'm talking about not every lady feels entitled to a man from the top tier. That's where the difference comes in. It's understood they're just not everybody. See, where you are in the West, they don't know that it's only 13% that they don't know that 87% of the men they haven't even noticed because they haven't noticed them. They're invisible. Yes. 87% are invisible to them. See, so when you come elsewhere, they're aware that it's that so-called top tier, whether it's in terms of looks or income or height. They're just aware that they understand that this is not very common. So they can't sit back and say, well, I'm guaranteed to find X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, they don't be like 4'11", man gotta be 6 foot tall. Doesn't happen over there. Doesn't happen. Like,
right.
My homegirl, rest in peace, her. I miss her so much, man. Rest in peace. Okay, she got killed many years ago. All right, she was in Panama. I kid you not, Blackheart. Okay, her man flew to her country. All right, they fell in love. Flew back to the States. We from eventually Dominican, like Dominican. All right, she told me that her man used to be 5'6", very dark skinned black man, just Dominican, or pretty much, or Colombian, one of those two. And all women curved him. They all curved him. They didn't want him. Okay, didn't want him. He went from 5'6" to 6'3" in a matter of like 3 years, right? Every single woman that curved him wanted him. They all did. Every single one. The big chick, the tiny behind midget girl, they all wanted him and felt entitled to that man. Her man. Okay? But in other cultures, that's not the case. They know their lane. And the men do too. Okay? But here in the West, they make these demands here because Chatterone might sleep with the whore who's 5'0", and he's like 6'3". In her mind, I need a man that's 6'3". It's in shape. With no kids. Girl, you big as hell with 3 kids. The hell? Like, what is this? What is this? This right here is a clown fest, people. It's a clown fest. And Blackheart is telling y'all for a reason that is not normal. Okay? It's only here in this civilization that happens. Can you get Blackheart?
Well, that's the gist of it. At the end of the day, they may prefer height. They may. I'm not saying the preferences may necessarily change a whole lot, but they understand that it is preferences, and there is everybody. It's just common sense that every human being has to fall short of something, And they, of course, this also extends to themselves. That is understood. I mean, they understand that they're going to fall short of
Okay.
something, and so is he.
Okay,
Whereas
male.
what's happening in the West.
This was important. Man's for maniac. We'll address that in a minute. I promise you, we're going to address that lie, that big old lie. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, yeah. It's so to say that the preference is understood to be a preference, but it's also understood in many other places that everyone has to fall short. Now, what you're dealing with in the West is something I have a name for it. In some of my videos, I've referred to it as the Superman Lois Lane syndrome. And that is, and that actually got started many decades ago. We have to understand that the characters were created, I think, in the 20s or in the 30s. What it is this idea that she gets to remain Lois Lane. She gets, just for being Lois Lane, she is entitled to Superman. The whole time she doesn't understand, she's overlooking Clark Kent. And you have to analyze, in order to fully understand the syndrome, you have to analyze the details of these two characters. Clark Kent was as far as she could tell, he was a human being. He was not weak. He was just mild-mannered. So he wasn't a wimp. He was just a nice guy. That's it. He went to, even though he's not a real character, the storyline is that he went to college on a football scholarship and then became a reporter. The only thing is that he was mild-mannered and he wore glasses. But she felt, as she was, with her mortality and her humanity and her bleeding once a month like everyone else, she felt that she was entitled to a man that was so perfect that he wasn't even human. And remember, he wasn't human. He was not human at all. So bestiality was more justifiable to her than a strong man that just had a mild manner. And this is what has affected the mindset, or the so-called mating market in the West, the way y'all are dealing with it. Here, that's a blasphemous idea to have those kinds of expectations that he's got to be bulletproof, that he's got to be able to fly. You know, this idea that he's got to be perfect is actually considered a blasphemous idea. That's
Blackheart.
where I am.
Okay, listen, man. Okay, the person in the chat, this lie here. Okay, he said that it's a bad idea, my boy, male beer maniac, that from his experience, it's a bad idea to tell foreign women that you're bad with women in the U.S. In my experience, that's called shit test, man. Okay, so let me explain. Never tell a foreign woman that you're bad with women in the U.S. That's not what you say, all right? You have to understand, both you and the foreign women have perceptions about each other because of the media. So you handle a situation like this, okay? You tell them, okay, that you left the U.S. or are here for better options, something like that, okay? For example, Blackheart, explain to them how to talk to a woman that is not in the U.S. and how to get with them and court them. They ask you things like, "Oh, so why is the girl not American with?" Like that, for example.
Okay, I didn't hear the last question that you said that they might ask you.
Okay, so let's say you're I don't know, Peru, basically a non-Western country, and they ask you, all right, why are you here talking to us, not an American girl? How do you handle that?
Well, to be honest with you, my experience was, I mean, I was advised the same way that Manosphere Maniac was advised and is now advising us.
Yeah.
I was advised the same way. You don't necessarily just bad mouth them. Now you could say that you don't want to necessarily say that you weren't what they were looking for, because they're just going to assume that there was something that was something about you. But the thing is that I've not necessarily been asked that question personally.
I have. I actually have sometimes. Like literally that question. Okay, what you gotta understand, all right, is that's a shit test. Okay, basically a shit test. Never talk bad about women from your country. Don't do that. But mention the culture. Okay, mention the culture, not the women. Okay. For example, say the culture was toxic. Okay, like that. You'll be perfectly fine. I promise you'll be fine. Remember, culture, not color, not women. Culture is the key. All right. Also, all right. Blackheart made this thing very powerful, y'all. Superman syndrome. I love it so much. I love it so much, man. Okay, because according to my actual peer-reviewed data, all right, males, was it 830 past 18. 28% of men in Blackheart are having no sex at all. Meanwhile, women's about 17%. At the beginning of the last decade, all right, around 2009, when dating apps, social media got really big. Before then, it's around the same exact level, around 17%. The males are going up. Women are staying the same, which means that women are with the same exact men. Okay, it's only getting worse. Okay, only getting worse. So, would that also mean that women, okay, good women, do not want nice, caring dudes here? They don't want them. They do not. Believe me, video coming soon. Video is coming soon. Best believe it is coming soon. Cause I get told so many times, oh, why don't good girls go for nice dudes? It's because nice dudes don't want. No. Okay, it's the good girls do not want the nice dudes. The nice dudes want the girls in general. This is the truth here. It's the truth. I'm telling you all this because in a non-Western country, okay, it is under. Okay, they lied. Yes, it's higher. Believe me, it's higher, bro. It's probably 1 in 3. Okay, it's getting extreme. Okay, in a non-Western country, this culture is not normal at all there. At all. I can assure you, y'all being so lied to over here. And Blackheart is being so nice to y'all, giving y'all this time and energy and information that they are hiding from y'all on purpose. Let that sink in. They're hiding this from you on purpose for a reason. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, Jordan Peterson, he said the exact same thing, actually. He's pointed this out.
He did.
Yeah, he has pointed this out before. That it's 27%. Now, did you say for the women it was 70 or 17?
It's like 17%. 17.
Okay, 17. All right, I wanted to make sure I heard correctly. Okay, yeah. All right. So
basically, it's very, very low, man. Okay. Also, Jordan Peterson said too. Okay, even in college campuses, okay, that are mostly women. He said it on a video that literally, even in, let's say, a 70% college women population, they're with the same exact small portion of men. Let that sink in. So it's a numbers game. It's not true. It is not a numbers game. They're lying to you. Your PWAs are lying to you. The women here in the West, okay, on your college campus are with the same exact men. And then they literally ignore most men. They ignore most men. I've been told by women regularly that they go days, listen, y'all, they go days without seeing an attractive man, okay? Which means that literally most men to them don't exist. Don't even exist. And if you're a quote bottom tier man, they see you as a disease. They don't want to be around you. It's the truth that they have from y'all. But again, on a global spectrum, that is not the case at all. There's better for you. You see, Blackheart?
Well, the truth be told, in most societies, it usually is. Usually, there are fewer men that are getting around than there are ladies. In many societies, that is the case, and throughout human history, see, each one of us individually has an equal number of. We each have an equal number of male ancestors and female ancestors. That's okay. That's normal. But see, as a population aggregately, humanity has half as many male ancestors as female ancestors. So this proves what you've been saying. Now, some of it is going to be because you've had men you've had boys that didn't survive into manhood. And generally speaking, generally speaking, even male children have not survived into adulthood as often as female children, generally speaking. But by the same token, we have to understand that when you're talking about 27, when the number of men goes up, some of that is because you have more men being honest anyway about what they're not doing and what they're not getting. But then there is also the part of that is actually rising up. See, we can tell that something's changing because testosterone levels in young men have dipped in the past generations. Testosterone levels in men in their 20s and 30s now have dropped to the same levels as men in their 80s generations ago.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. The data was 20. Okay, since 2009, it is 28% of men not having sex. For women, it's 18%. That is a huge jump, y'all. That's huge. Before then, okay, before 2009, men were always higher than women. A little bit higher, just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. But it's getting it's on an upward trend. The women one is not changing at all, basically. Which means it's only getting worse, people. Only getting worse. Do you, Blackheart?
Well, that is what you call hypergamy going haywire. It may be a normal human instinct, but you're dealing with a scenario in the West where they have the hypergamy. Now, hypergamy is a normal instinct, like I said.
Yes.
But see, then you also got this militant feminism. So they're actually subconsciously socialized to eliminate most of the men anyway. He has to be tall. Then why is she wearing high heels? He has to make a lot of money. Why is she competing with him for the same job and then trying to get him fired with me too? You see what I'm saying? So they're actually eliminating. They're actually not only are they only inclined to notice a few of the men, but they're even inclined to eliminate those they do notice into the category that no that they don't notice. So they're really setting
Yes.
themselves for this.
I call that
And
moving the
because
baseline. Yes. Yes. I call moving the baseline. They really move the
moving the
baseline
base,
higher for men. Yes. And also,
okay,
okay, men, this is for men in the chat. If a girl is on a date with you and she's wearing heels, that means she likes you. According to data, okay, I kid you not, women are more likely to wear heels on a date with men they want to be with. So many of y'all being used. I know you are for a fact. You go on dates with girls. And it's at the restaurant. Is she in heels? No, you're being played. You're welcome. Now, Blackheart, you said something about like eliminating good men.
well,
Yeah, eliminating good men. Yeah.
eliminating even just what they even eliminating what they prefer. I mean, think about it. Why is there crap testing? I don't want to curse,
Yeah, I
especially
understand.
right now. But why is there crap testing in the first place? Do we crap test them?
No, we don't. Men don't do that.
And that's been our mistake. We've seen them crap test us, but we didn't know what it was. We didn't crap test them, and that's one of the things we might need to start doing just until they do it, or due to those who engage in that, they start crap testing. You do the same thing, and the best way to crap test them is to tell them, you know, I wouldn't do this to you. Don't do it to me again, and then you leave the next time they do it. That's one of the best ways, or the other best way to crap test them is you make them understand, and you have to live outside the West to do this. You make them understand that she's not the only wife. You see, the women that need polygamy the most are the ones in the West who hate it the most, or they're the least socialized to it. And one of the reasons they're acting like this is because polygamy is illegal. They're not doing it just because you're not married to someone else. They're doing it because you cannot marry someone else. The competition has been made illegal. And so if you're going to bounce, you don't just want to bounce anywhere. You want to look and see what's great for you, but you do want to go somewhere where they understand they cannot take you for granted, just like you can't take them for granted. And but yeah, they're eliminating. I mean, you think about it. They'll say, well, he's got to be stronger than me. Okay, she finds the guy she likes. Then she says, I want to move this couch over there for no reason at all.
No,
She doesn't want to move the couch over there.
worse.
She wants you to broke.
It's
She
even
wants
worse.
you to yeah. She
They'll
wants
say
you to
things
just
like,
bust your back out. That's what it is.
oh, here we go. No, it's even worse. They be big as hell. Okay, big as hell. I kid you not. Wanting men in shape to lift them up. They be big as hell here. Wanting men in shape to lift them the hell up. Let that sink in. Okay, men, let that sink in. There is MGTOW, okay, whatever you want to call him. He literally said on live stream, we work out to sleep with big chicks. I'm in the gym regularly, okay? He is right. Okay? If he's big, she wants a man in shape. Meanwhile, with her, I got condition. I have birth control. This is what I mean. This is what I mean, people. Okay? Let that sink in. All right? But other places, that's not the case at all. That's why too many of y'all talk to said things like, oh, going to the gym is pointless. It is not pointless going to the gym. Because in a non-Western country, you focus on your body will be rewarded over there. Over here is expected as a man. Expected. Okay? You're expected to be in shape as a man. To be tall. No, I mean, you can't change, by the way. But in a non-Western country, if you're in shape, they're like, okay, listen, man, he's in shape. You know what I mean? Take care of his body, bro. That's a big deal. But over here, what do you mean? It is not the same, people. Understand this. Please understand this. Dave Blackheart.
Well, the funny thing is, I was actually asked that question myself. And you can imagine who asked me that question. I was asked why it was that, and I was asked specifically in a different context. I wasn't really asked this in the context of the West overall, but I was asked why black men are in shape and they have to be with these very large plus size Caucasian women. Now, I was asked the question. See, I was asked the question as if this. I was asked the question to determine if black men actually just walked around with a preference for specifically Caucasian women. what I explained was that in actuality, this was the case in our own culture as well too.
Yes.
Society.
Yes.
We're just, we have to meet all of these standards that we're not allowed to have in exchange for them to meet. And that's because, again, we have been too easy. We made a mistake really just continuing to make the pursuits when you started getting less juice for the same squeeze. That was our mistake.
You look good, girl. You look good, girl. Don't worry. You look good, man. You look good. You look fine, girl.
And
You look good. Look thick. Don't worry. You look good. Ridiculous,
and
man. Ridiculous.
that was, that was our mistake. Now some of that you can chalk up to nature because weight gain, just like the results of the gym, weight gain is a slow process, so it can sneak up on you just like your muscles can, whichever one.
Yeah.
So some of that is natural and understandable, but by the same token, yeah, you're right. See, we've been told that we're not supposed to have these particular standards, and there are guys that really do like a particular weight range.
Yeah.
And so if they're just honest about what they like, that's fine. But men may have to say, okay, well, you look good to me. I can't speak for other guys, but you look good to me. And then she would understand why, if he passes away or they just don't work out later on, she can't get the same attention. At least she knows, okay, well, he was honest about what he liked. But see, we've been told don't even do that. That's the thing. We pretty much been told don't have standards, just meet standards.
Listen, especially if you're a black man, okay? Many of y'all also are white, Asian, you know what I mean? Again, this channel is about men in general who are of all cultures. But that being said, if you're a black man in the West, okay, here in the West, it is true. Black men have the lowest standards ever for women. They do. So other women of other cultures expect you to be with them, no matter what. Okay, if they are bombs here, for example, let's say they're Mexican, okay, they're like a mestiza, or they're like mixed Puerto Rican, whatever, okay, Cuban, and they're big as hell and nasty, or they're white, big as hell and nasty. They expect you as a black man to take them, okay? Just take them.
Yeah, there is that idea.
Crazy, man, absolutely crazy.
Now, I mean, some of that does come from the motherland too, where there are fattening ceremonies in Mauritania, for instance.
In West Africa. West Africa.
To a lesser degree, it does come from home. But to be fair, we are dealing with an epidemic in which we're being told to accept not only some extra pounds that make her look more like a lady and less like a man, which would be natural. We're being told to accept out of shape, obese.
You're like Lizzo. You're like Lizzo. You're like Lizzo. like Lizzo, man. Or even like it's just like they could be white. Okay, they be white. They be Asian. They could be whatever. They're big as hell. They expect you as a black man in shape to be with them because their own men do not want them.
Right, right. Exactly. It's exaggerated in the West.
Dude, I was told, I kid you not, by a woman as a joke. I know she's serious though. She's serious, okay? That she's not on a scale at all. It's not on a scale. She told me that if too many black men want her, she needs to lose weight. People. This is what brothers. Okay. Oh, you look good. She does not look good. Okay. Please stop this. Okay. I'm in shape. Okay. I do not want to do a fat chick. Please don't. You think black
well, the funny thing is that a comedian made a joke about that. Chris Rock made a joke about that too, because he heard the same thing, and he made that joke over a decade ago. That is and I was told the same thing back in grad school. I think about 2008 or 2009. I remember hearing that from one of my classmates. She was married, but she was one of those tall but husky Scandinavian looking type ladies, right? And she said the same thing. What she said was that people assumed that her husband was a black man or maybe a Latino because of her size.
Yeah.
That's what she said, although she was married to a Caucasian like herself. And so she wasn't making fun of anybody. She was merely talking about people's perception. But yeah, that is a perception.
It's so bad here, man. Okay. The flag. Okay, I call them flag women. Okay, flag women. Okay, the fake foreign women. Oh, I'm Nigerian. No, you're not. You're born here, girl. If you're Western, okay. Those women. You see them on, let's say, Twitter, Facebook, the flag in the bio. Okay, those women. Okay. I saw a Nigerian flag woman, okay, a fake foreign girl, right? Said that, I kid you not, Blackheart, let this sink in. She said, I need to lose more weight to get a white man. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? So you're gonna literally be in the gym. You know that I get big as hell for a white man. But as a black man, if you say this out loud, you don't want to be behind girls. What you mean, man? What's wrong with you? Ain't wrong with the side. People.
Yeah, that is. And that's because, like I said, we were trained to not have. You have to keep in mind too, though. We were trained not to have standards before the Western white man was trained to not have standards. We were trained not to have standards going back into being in bondage in the I'd say in the Americas, but definitely in the U.S. because the U.S. had breeding farms. And the funny thing is this: you'll notice that let's say in a place like Brazil, for instance, where you got a lot of people of African descent, their threshold is well within ours. Now, if you look in the English-speaking Caribbean, then it's different because that's where they bred. They bred us.
Yes.
And when they bred you, you were not allowed, man or woman, you really were not allowed to have standards.
Yes.
And so some of this is from home. Some of it is an exaggeration that began during the breeding period of bondage in the English-speaking Americas, i.e., not only the U.S., but in other former British colonies like in Jamaica. So the threshold, it started getting pushed. And then when you add the modern Western society, it's even worse in that regard. So, I mean, I'll say, see, my threshold, my tolerance for weight is more than most men's. And I also can tolerate a lady being older than most men can tolerate. But I have to admit, this is me. This is an individual thing. I can't sit up and say, what's wrong with you? Because you can't deal with that. I can't sit up and say that. But we're in a society in which people got used to telling us, what's wrong with you? How you going to turn this down? And then it was really just easy. The Western white woman exported feminism to Western black women. But what they saw Western black women do and get away with, they said, we're just going to turn around and do it to the Western white man as well. So we're going to get more of his resources in exchange for less. And let's just call it what it is. Both of them have driven both of their men away.
Yes. The people, listen, white men have been on the passport gang. They've been leaving. They've been leaving. Okay, they go to Asia with Mulan. They be chilling. Okay, they go to like Costa Rica. They go to Peru, Cuba, and they be chilling because Sarah drove men away, nagging. When they got married, black couple, they get married, bro. Get big as hell to get married, don't they? White girl all good looking, you know what I mean? Did she get the ring? I'm married now. It's over. Get big as hell. Okay, like this. White men have been known. I gotta go. I'm out. Okay, but when it comes to black men, they are so anti-passport. You're weak, bro. You're weak. What you mean? Like, this is what I mean. You gotta understand. All right, please understand that the world is way bigger than y'all think it is. Way bigger. Even for me. Okay, I have a fair tolerance level for women. I'm very fair. I say, please don't get big as hell. Please. But even that for here, okay, it's too much. My own family, okay, as a black man, all the women are big as hell. They all are. Big as hell. It's sad. You know what I mean? It got so bad, okay, Black Card. Cause to be cause I'm 5'8", okay? I was 5'8", 120 pounds. Skinny behind dude, mad skinny, okay? I gained 40 pounds. 40, okay? Because I was told I was anorexic. You know what I mean? You'll get sick. You eat my meat on your bones. All these things, right? I put in the work to get my body more in shape, whatever. But for every single woman in my family, I kid you not, who's under about 30, they all want to get surgery. I want to get my titties done. I want to get my ass done. All these things, you know what I mean? Because in their mind, they want to go to the gym. Blackheart, they have a waist trainer, okay? Not a gym membership. What is this? What is this, man? It's a clown fest, okay? And the worst part is, it's not just ones that are black. Girls who are white, girls who are Asian, girls who are all these different westernized women of all flags, okay, are having the same exact problems as a whole. So men as a whole, who are now black, who are white, who are even Asian, you know what I mean, Hispanic, they are leaving the countries. My homeboy Chris is from Colombia. He's Colombian, okay? Actually, he's from Toronto, but he's from Colombia. He's a black Colombian Latino. He's dark-skinned, okay? He told me straight up, I'm leaving the West to get a wife. I want to Colombia. Okay? He's tired of it. He's tall, he's in shape, good-looking man dude. and he's done with the West. He's done. This is people understand. Okay, it's only getting worse. Understand that there's no balance here. Understand that this culture, okay, this disease known as feminism as well, the West, all of it has got to go. Okay, and it's not the only option. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not. We have to understand. I mean, even though all of the non-West is not necessarily the same, i.e., what works in let's say what works in the Solomon Islands may be different from what works even just in Fiji. It does change. The thing is that it's not, generally speaking, it's not to a level that's going to threaten the existence of future generations. It's not to a level that's going to make populations shrink simply because people can't stay together, or this. It's not to a level that's going to drive their men into the arms of robots and dolls, like what you have in the West. That is something that's very unique, and people don't understand it. When I first got here, I didn't know the word for robot in the local language, and so I couldn't really explain how bad it was. But when I explained some things, people said it's never going to get that bad here. The world will end first because it would take so long. It is odd in the West. It is very strange that the exaggerated levels to which you have to meet standards and the exaggerated levels against you having standards, you're just not allowed to have them. You can't, don't have, don't expect anything. And see, you mentioned how you said one thing. There was one thing you put on the site that you don't want. And I bet you that's exactly what came after you.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, what happened?
Because the voice cut out a little bit, but I'm assuming at the time the voice cut out, that's probably when you told us just now that that's exactly what came after you, which you said you don't want.
Yes, big mom chicks, Lizzo's. Okay.
Right, exactly. And that came. See, I'm gonna tell you what happened. Before I was even Muslim and I was still living back stateside, I put a profile up once, and I said, I pretty much said, no. What did I say? I said no single moms. I wasn't a parent at that time. I said no, yeah. I said no country ghetto broads.
Oh man, what's up, man?
Right. No country ghetto broads and no men. That's what I said. I got the country ghetto single moms and a man coming into my profile.
Oh my
so
God,
it was to the point where I saw it. Now this was back in about, this had to be about 2000, 2001 that this happened.
Oh man, it's getting so much worse now, man. Got it way worse. It's way worse now, man.
Exactly. But when I was coming up, it was already really, really bad at that point. I'm saying that to say that it's almost been engineered this bad. All you have to do, and that's how you know it's not normal over there. All you got to do is just say, you just eliminate certain things you don't want, and that's what comes after you. Now, when I was here, I did say certain things I wasn't looking for. Like I said, I do want somebody with some education, but what I said was not very difficult. I even said, for me, widows are fine because I'm old enough, and they can be older than what you'll take because I'm old enough to take them. Widows are okay because I knew that there were a lot of widows because of the car accidents in this country. High rates of men died in car accidents. So I said that to the guys here. Now, here's the funny thing. They started coming back with uneducated housemaids. That's it. Just uneducated housemaids. Some of them did not speak Arabic or English. Many of them did not, as a matter of fact. I also said they got to be black. Well, that should have made it easy because they don't want black women. They started coming back with Filipinas. You see, not that it's a bad thing. It's just that it's just that if I had said Filipinas, then they would have come with sisters. But it was these men that were trying to do this. They seemed to think whatever you say you want, we're not going to do. Really, what they were trying to do is I found out later on, they were trying to distract me and make sure that I never found out about their own relatives that were paying attention to this new Black American in the town and in the city.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, when you Blackheart, you speak Arabic as well, man. That's absolutely crazy. You speak Arabic, man. I keep being told about dudes who are lazy. Get real with you, mad behind lazy. Like, well, I could leave the West, but I don't speak Arabic or Spanish. I'm like, people. Now, Blackheart, To learn Arabic, how do you learn Arabic speaking, man? How do you
Well,
learn a language?
truth be told, it's not an easy language, and I'm not fluent, not by a long shot.
Okay.
Now, my wife is a polyglot. She is a
Oh,
genius. She's fluent in 3 languages.
wow.
God bless her. Um,
Wow.
but oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. Into the room I'm in, so I had to wolf whistle at her right quick. But I'm not the one that's fluent. I speak enough to get around, take a few directions, as long as they can speak formal Arabic. Not everybody can do that, but the way I
Mm,
learned it was this. I'm gonna be honest. You see, you pick up what little bits you can, a few simple sentences when you're in your home country. Before you migrate, you pick up a little bit what you can, the basics. But some
okay.
things like this language here, you can only learn by living in that environment. You need a little bit to start with, and you need
Okay.
to be around. So I would say this for Spanish. Spanish is easy. You can
Yes.
learn that both in the states and in a Spanish speaking country. Uh,
Yes.
it's just easy. The Malaysian language is one of the easiest in the world. It's easier than English or Spanish or anything. Now, a language like Arabic is complex. What you do is you pick up a little bit when you're in the States. You hang around some of the bilingual people. Then, when you go to whatever country, you hang around bilingual people there too. And you don't just hang around one, because bilingual people here have jobs. You see,
Yes.
the people that don't have jobs don't even speak Arabic correctly, let alone English. But bilingual people got jobs. So you hang around different ones and you pick it up piece by piece before you just submerge yourself and immerse yourself in an environment in which nobody speaks your language. It's don't make the mistake of that some of the locals will tell you, well, I don't speak English and you don't speak Arabic, but let's hang out together. We'll learn each other's language. You're not going to learn each other's language, but
Yeah.
you hang out with the bilinguals and you don't go places without them. And then you're going to pick up as you translate it, or as you talk and they translate for you, you then begin to pick up more from the basis that you already had. That's how.
This is why I tell y'all, okay, that y'all gotta stop being afraid to leave. Please stop being afraid to leave, please. All right. I hear all the time, oh, I can't leave because of language, and he's telling you how he's still learning and has left. Okay, he's still learning and has people. Please understand this, brothers. Please. All right. Like for me, I talked to the girl that's Peruvian. Okay, she's Peruvian. Her family is from Peru, like from Peru. She's in a sanctuary city in the U.S. Okay, Key West, Florida, sanctuary city. All right, that's basically major non-Western America. The sounds are all in Spanish and like Peruvian Spanish. It's not all in like really like Caribbean Spanish at all. It's South American Spanish. And with me, I realized that Blackheart in the U.S. alone, okay, sanctuary cities are way different than the rest of the U.S. I realized that at a very, I'm like, wow, it's very different here. So I realized alone being in a sanctuary city is way different. Then when I left the country the first time I was a child, I was like, oh my God, because I was treated so differently in a non-Western city, a non-Western country, excuse me. So to y'all who literally, for example, me, I like women who are Latin, I like women who are Black, okay? I like Black Latinas, I like Indian Latinas, who are indigenous, okay? I like women that are white. That's just me, okay? I like Creoles. With me, I knew that eventually I might have to like learn the language. So I picked up Spanish a little bit over time. If you want to leave the country and go like Brazil, go to Rio, yes, a lot of women in Rio are learning English because they want to have an American or a Western man in general. They want to have one. But you can take the time to learn a language, people. You can learn a language. You can learn it, okay? You can learn it while there as well and be perfectly fine. That is a valid option. Understand, please, it's a valid option. Thank you, Blackheart.
Um, oh, yeah, that's about right. I mean, I'll tell you this: learning the language goes a long way, and here's one of the ways it does help. Now, where I am, it is conservative, and I'm not saying that you're going to come here specifically and you're going to find your wife per se, especially from the local population, because they're conservative. They tend to marry each other. It's going to change,
Yes.
but that's what they do. But, but take places like okay, let's take for instance Malaysia. Now, I'm not going to promote. I'm not allowed to promote going to any country and trying to turn tricks or even just trying to get a girlfriend per se. I can only promote marriage. But many guys do say, well, how do I go to these countries and circumvent the ones that are selling it and go for the normal ones and build a life with them? What I that is where you actually spend extensive time in that nation, in this environment, and you learn its language. That is what separates. Because see, if I went to, let's say, if I went to, I'll use the Philippines as an example. I'll use it as
Yes.
an example because in the Philippines you have the conservative areas, and you even have the South where we have the same faith. Then you've got areas where they're completely wide open in terms of what they'll do. You just go there, show up with money, and you could, if you ain't careful, you could wind up with your own kids. So you have everything there. If I
Yes.
wanted to go, if I never met my wife and I wanted to go to the Philippines, I would go hang out in the South, learn the language there, and actually spend extensive time there or move there if I was looking to start a family there, because that's what separates me from the tourist. And that's when the regular ones can open up. Now, my friend did that, and that's why I'm using that. That's the other reason I'm using it as an example. He went there. He was done with the West. He was done with the Western women. So he went there to the South. He didn't pick up the language to speak it, but he was able to understand. But he was there. He spent a lot of time there, and so he was separated from the tourist in that regard.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so uh, uh, that's what changed everything for him. So he wasn't going there and just being hit up for dollars, and I'll spend the night with you. That's what was was different about it. So the thing is, don't go abroad trying to trick and then think you can find the regular ones coming at you. Uh,
Exactly.
no,
Exactly.
you don't do that. You go and you at least live there part time, and you keep the same, you keep the same friends you kept up with when you're in town, and you'll meet folks. It'll be organic at that point.
I keep telling y'all, okay, listen, when you travel for sexual tourism, okay, you will attract women who are prostitutes who are trying to basically use your money because that's what you're trying to do there anyways. Use women there. But when you tell them things like "I'm trying to move here," they will go away. Also, all right, Latinas is why I'm used to. I live in Florida. Okay, yes. Okay, Latinas, the diet Latinas here, okay, in the U.S. are not the same at all in their own countries. They're not, except for like Puerto Rico and Mexico and Honduras to a degree. So Honduras kind of to a degree. But understand, okay, if you go to like Peru, like go to Peru, go to Colombia, go to Brazil, go to even DR, which is kind of like iffy, by the way, things like that. Panama, okay, the Latinos there, whether they're black, indigenous, sometimes Asian, sometimes white, are not the same with the ones here because they are not using their flag as a fetish here, okay? The flag woman with y'all on Instagram looking at, okay? Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Dominican. Okay, she was born in the Bronx. She was not born in DR or born in Colombia. Matter of fact, she's average looking there. But y'all are so women here look so big as hell and fake behind stuff. Average women in other countries, the standard is don't looking good because that's what they're used to over there looking like to begin with. Over in the West, they look like anything at all because they become very trashy and big as hell. So understand, okay, understand that how I put it, y'all want to get the quote unquote Latina who in the West is better than quote unquote black girl or white whatever. No, they're the same because they are Western. Okay, if you want to get a non-Western woman, you must go to either a sanctuary city or a non-Western country. That is it. Okay. Also, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is Western as hell. Okay, it is very Western as hell. It's probably the most Western of every single Latin country I've talked to. The reason why? Because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. Let that sink in. Brazil is Westernizing. That is true, but it's still not Western entirely. So in Brazil, they're more kind, they're more sweet, they're more caring. So the things you're being told about quote unquote the foreign girls here, they're not foreign. Why do you think that Asian girls come to the US and get a white boyfriend? Or Indian girls get a white boyfriend? Why? Because they want to, because they are now assimilated in the country. Especially their kids. Their kids are the worst, okay? Their kids. They're the worst. So literally, there will be Indian. Oh, I'm Indian. But if I'm from India, she goes to America. Her boyfriend's white. Oh, I'm Asian. Really? Oh, I'm from Vietnam. The boyfriend's white. That is not authentic, okay? You need to actually go to the country and get them, or a closed, sanctuary, patriarchal society within a Western country. But in my opinion, even that's too much sometimes. So understand, if you really want to get a quality woman that's up to your look standard, your life standard, whatever, you must leave the country. Leave. No vacation, leave. Okay? And do not bring them back to the West. You stop doing that, people. Okay? Do not fall. Okay, the green card whores. All right? Once you come back to the West, because a green card, when you leave the West, you cannot come back. You cannot come back. When you leave, it's over. It's a done deal. Do not bring a girl from Vietnam, Laos, the Philippines, Malaysia, East Africa. Okay, I'll get them from India. I'll get them from Colombia. I'll get them from Brazil. Whatever. Do not bring them back to the West. The Western culture will poison your girl. There's too many dudes here who bring the girl back to the U.S. And what happens is the girl gets some friends, okay, some Western friends, and they convince her to leave you. Then you get divorce raped in court. Then what happens? You're paying alimony for life. Loan your car. You got played. So you must leave the West. Okay, leave. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, yeah, you will have to leave. Very much so. And I mean, people can leave for spiritual reasons. They can leave for financial reasons. But one thing that is the case is very sure. You are not going to be able to start and raise a stable family in the West. You're not even going to be able to have a stable couple life, let alone a stable marriage in the West the way it is now. It cannot be saved because the resistance, there's too much of a resistance to anything that's actually going to work. It's kind of like the nation is really like its own school system. Everything that's going to solve the problem of student underperformance and bad behavior in the schools is illegal. Because every real consequence is already made illegal. Well, it's the same thing there. Everything that's actually going to work is illegal. Like take, for instance, polygyny. Everybody doesn't have to practice it. You just got to make it legal. Now the competition is legal, so they got to be on it. They got to either behave better or lose you to someone else. As one example. So yeah, you that's what you're looking to do. You're going to have another thing too is even if you're not going leave for that reason. If you want to go monk mode, you still need to leave because you're less likely to be blamed for something you didn't do abroad unless you just go around ticking people off. It depending on where you go, of course. Now France is not France is about like the States. You can't even have a
yes.
It is the West, and a DIY DNA test is not allowed there. So you're at the mercy of being cuckolded, and I mean in the literal sense of you have to raise his baby like it's yours, and you can't get off the hook. You can't even prove he's not. That's not legal. So that's not where you want to go. So even if you go monk mode, you still want to go elsewhere, where at the very least, if you don't bother folks, you'll be left alone.
That's why the MGTOW wrote a book about how to retire in Southeast Asia on 200K. Really good book actually, how to retire, leave the country and stuff, and literally become basic middle class, retire their stuff at age 32. Amazing book. But also the West, okay? Too many people I've talked to, I've been with you, Blackheart, but the black dudes, but the black men, okay, they think things like, I'm gonna leave America and go to Sweden and go to Germany. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, what are you doing? They're like, oh, but the better there. What are you doing? You are leaving the West to go to the West. What is this? What are we doing? Okay, y'all must understand. Europe, Western Europe is the West. So Italy is the West. France is the West. So is Germany. So is Spain. So is Portugal. So is England. Okay, so is Ireland. Those are Western countries. The only non-Western European countries are Eastern Europe. Because the birth rate is around 2. Okay, listen, man, listen. If the birth rate, okay, is less than 2, and they have a welfare state that's off the rails huge, that is a Western or West Island country. So Japan, so Korea, that is technically Western as well. Down-centric as hell. Leaving, let's say, to go to Japan or Korea is dumb as hell. That is not solving anything for your problem. You must leave entirely and leave. Do not have it. Do not have to do it. Do not do the whole, but just, it's different. No, it's different in another language, okay? But the overall problem is the same. See Blackheart?
Yeah. You can't go. I mean, you can visit them, sure, but
Yeah.
you're not going to find much different there. And whatever the thing is, this whatever the law allows, the absolute worst behavior that they can legally get away with is going to be the best behavior you're going to get. That's just it's understood. And even when you leave the West, you get better behavior because that's what they can get away with.
Yes.
And so now you can go places where okay, I don't know why it is that a lot of brothers say this, but the thing is that a lot of us bought into this notion that going back home to the home continent is automatically dangerous and unsafe and unsanitary.
Yes, off the limit, dude. Okay, we'll talk. Okay, SYSBM. Okay, I love y'all, but I hate y'all. Okay, the same. I do. I pretty much I hate y'all. Y'all was talking about everywhere else but Africa. Let's be real. Let's be real. Okay.
No. To be fair, that might have been the case a while back.
Yeah, well, excuse me. It's changed. It definitely changed now. Okay, definitely changed now because
what's happening now is that what's happening now is that more of them are beginning to prefer. They're preferring Brazil and Costa Rica and the DR for the same reason. They're preferring them specifically for their African descendant populations.
Yes.
And there are more of them that are now beginning to talk about going to Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa. These are the hotspots right now. So no, it's not.
A lot of like you, Aussie, man. A lot of people like you. People like you are why. You know what I mean? People like you and let's want to do the passport too. Like y'all were the main ones talking about going to, let's say, Africa and stuff or black areas. But in the beginning, I remember the beginning. Okay, mad bus driver. I love you, but bro, listen, bro. Okay, too many of y'all were advocating going to France, going to Germany. I'm like, what? And when we went to Africa, y'all only assumed that Africa would, bro. Come on, man. Come on. But thankfully it's changed. It's changed though, you know what I mean? Because Africa is on the table, okay? East Africa especially, my favorite region, East Africa, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or even like Central Africa, West Africa, that's on the table. And I promise you, listen, okay? These women, first off, look better than ones do here, agree with you. And also, like, the way they behave is not the same as the black women here. So if you're a black man, you can still get a black wife that is not like, you know, crazy behind, attitude issues, several freaking kids out of nowhere. I don't need no man. That's gonna go. That's gone. Okay. The I don't need no man does not exist over there. It's not normal over there. It's not normal.
Well, we have to keep in mind. The size of that continent. I mean, it is the same land area as the moon itself. The continent is the size of a small planet. Yeah, it's big.
Really?
It's big.
Wow.
Yeah, Africa is big. So, I mean, Asia is the biggest continent, but let's say Africa is the biggest one that is not connected to another continent. It's big.
Yeah.
So they're talking. What they're doing is these guys are talking about different parts of Africa, and they're comparing notes because see, Africa it's always been diverse.
Yes.
So you have everything there. You have the same thing you have in the West, and you have the opposite, and you have everything.
Yes, you do. You most definitely do.
So it really does depend on where you go. Now, just to give for any audience members that are listening, just to give updated information, what you have there in Africa is right now Nigeria is considered to be not the spot to go if you're trying to start a family, and I'll tell you why. There's a study out that I don't have the link to it, but there's a study out that showed that they were the most promiscuous of all of the women on the continent on average.
Yes, that's true. That's definitely true.
Also, their own men were saying that the women were very harsh and rough. When I was in Malaysia, I noticed something interesting. My first time I was there, they don't have a problem with black folks in Malaysia, and they don't have a problem with Africans in Malaysia. They have only a problem with Nigerians. And one of the Grab drivers told me that the Nigerians were in a class by themselves. He said the women act like the men. So right now, people are saying, I mean, even Nigerian men are saying, no, you don't want to go to Nigeria for that. Well, it's 250 million. It's 250 million people, you know, so it can't, it has to be diverse. That's true. Now, they were talking about the South. I have a buddy from Bosnia who married a northern Nigerian. He's happy. He said he's through the roof. And he actually brought her to the U.S. He brought her to the U.S. and he still said he's through the roof. He's happy. But she's from the north, and she also understands that she acts the F up. she's not scared to go back home. But if she acts up and he tells her family she acts up and sends her back, they're gonna look at her as a failure.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Oh yeah. Also, for Africa, okay, South Africa is a no. Okay, it's a no. Okay, don't bother us. Don't do it. Do not do it there. Okay, especially if you're black, don't do it. South Africa is literally just, how I put it, I hate to say it, but they're so brainwashed there, especially the women. It's very Western in South Africa. Don't do it. Do not do it, brothers. Don't go there. All right. But Africa is really, again, it's a unique region, very big region. Okay, many options there as men, and it's still valid. You know what I mean? So you can go, let's say, Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea, okay, South Sudan. My opinion, avoid North Africa. Avoid it if you're black. But just, that's still an option, though. You know what I mean? And these dudes act like, I'm gonna go to France. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go to Sweden. I'm going to Germany, Norway, and get, like, no, okay, that is not what you should do. Okay, no, okay. What you are literally doing is missing the entire point of why men have left the country in the first place. Why do you think, okay, when white men leave the country, they'll go to Europe? You ever thought about that? Why don't they go to Europe? Why? Why don't they go to Asia, Costa Rica? Why don't they go to, like, Brazil, Peru? Why never go back to Europe? Because they know that Europe is the same as here when it comes to the culture. The problem, it's the same. In the UK, okay, fraternity fraud in the UK is about 1 in 3. 1 in 3 in the UK. But
Yeah.
that's huge. That's huge, okay? In the US, some places in the US, it's also 1 in 3. That's 1 in 3 men. Also understand, all right, that as a man, if you were married to a girl in the US, all right, and you lose, okay, you get a paternity test, and you're married, you still must pay child support. You have to still pay. You have to, all right? Australia,
it depends on the state. The different states have different rules, but most of them have some kind of cutoff point where, most of them have some kind of cutoff point. For some of them, it's 4 years after the birth of the child. For some, it's 2. But yeah, they do. And there are stories of men that have gotten in trouble because they should not have had to, and they didn't, and they still got. Yeah. So it is a big deal. It certainly is.
Right. Okay, Tech Rel wants to get in the chat. If you want to get in the chat, you want to ask him a question, you want to talk to him, what do you want to get a chat for? I'm curious. I can let you in, but I just want to know why. But yeah, man, like, that's why I just tell these dudes, man, all the time, who want to literally leave America and they're black, they're gonna go to Europe. I'm like, why? What are you doing? Why? It's like, I made this channel, okay, for a reason. I'm in my own pill. I'm based, okay? I have a base pill, all right? I'm not a black pill, but I'm more extreme. I'm based, okay? The base pill was my creation of for men to reject Western society as a whole so they can stop being depressed and realize that the base pill is about living life for yourself outside of the Western standard for men and understanding the world is bigger than it looks like. Let me see. Just improve your... Okay. All right. But yeah, understand though, man, the fellowship, the brotherhood, okay, is my creation for this reason alone. This Base Pill podcast is an interview series for men like Blackheart to come on here. Even the incels, all of you to come on here. So we're going to find a middle ground between men who are black, Asian, white, and realize that the culture here is the problem, people. Step 0 is you must reject the culture, okay? Too many of y'all talk to, okay? Way too many of y'all talk to. Way too many are scared of making Western women upset because you have standards for them. Or tell the truth. These women don't even want you. They don't want you. And you're afraid to make them upset? Why? Listen, y'all, I'm based. I don't care. I really don't care. I be like, listen, bro, y'all getting big as hell here, attitude issues, entitled to men, okay, curve good behind men, alimony off the rails, cheat on your man. They would cheat and get rewarded for cheating. And I'm told I hate women. Or you hate women. No, I do not hate women, okay? I don't hate them. I hate the culture. It's culture first. This channel is always culture first. And Blackheart is telling y'all how important culture is for a reason. So please understand, take the information in, y'all. It's so important you understand the truth. You think Black Art?
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense to, other than just visiting these areas and just seeing what they're about as a tourist. You're right. It doesn't make sense to leave to try to escape the Wicked Witch of the West and then go to another Western area. That's true. I've heard that it's bad in Australia. As is said in the chat, I haven't been there, but I'm sorry.
The prenups. Australia threw out all of their prenups. Every single one in the courtroom. Also in Australia, you live together for 2 years, you're legally married. Australia's awful. Awful. It's terrible. Okay? A race car driver. Okay, also in Europe, okay? In Europe, okay? A race car driver had 3 prenups, and they threw out every single prenup in every single country that had a prenup in. So do not leave America to go to Europe or Australia. No. Leave the West, the Anglo-Saxon countries as a whole. You must leave them.
And the other thing too is that if you're going to live somewhere, you want your money to go further, and that's why sometimes these second and third world nations may be better, because the bit you have, you can invest in the business and get to a comfortable start at least, and then you're able to better protect what you have anyway. So it's not, no, it doesn't really make sense to say, well, I'm going to go and move there, unless of course you just monk mode. And even then, you're going to need evidence that you are as innocent as you've been living out to be, because when you start dealing with these gynocracies, of course, your innocence has to be proven. Unlike in other cases, your guilt has to be. You start dealing with those kinds of accusations, your innocence has to be proven, and it's really difficult to prove you didn't grab someone's butt or grab someone's breast or harass them. And keep this in mind: in the I think it's in the States right now, 25% of millennial men believe that asking for a phone number one time constitutes harassment.
Yes.
So, well, they didn't get this idea from their dads. So this is an idea that had to come from somewhere else. And if they believe it, then what chances are they got it from some lady somewhere. So that means that there are ladies who believe that being asked once constitutes harassment. Well, the first time, there's no way to know the difference between. There's really no way to know if she wants you to have her number or not until you ask that one time. So unfortunately, yeah, that idea is going to spread.
Okay, and, also the chat. No, South Korea is the West. It's concentric as hell. Okay, South Korea, Japan, that is very, very westernized. What do you think it is? Way more. Welfare state, a little behind birth rates, and top behind women. Okay, it's so bad there that Korean men are leaving Korea. Okay, or leaving Japan. Let that sink in. The men are leaving those countries for a reason. They're not going to stay in Korea or Japan because they're tired of the laws there. Okay, the laws would be so bad, y'all. They'd be so bad. Okay, what is it? They call them the child porn laws, whatever. Those laws are written to throw out revenge porn laws. Excuse me, revenge porn laws. The revenge porn laws are written to throw out evidence in court. This is a fact. This is how they started on purpose. Okay, the loop model. The loop model was applied model in the whole world for domestic violence. Okay, things like this they won't tell you at all in America. They won't tell you that. They won't. All right. Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing. So let's say you as a man, them 50 girl together. Okay, you and a girl. Go to your crib, right? And you go to your crib. Y'all chilling. Y'all have sex. All right. She says that you raped her. Okay. You have video evidence in court. They will throw it out. Throw it out because of the revenge porn laws. This is the West, people. The West. Okay? This is why I tell y'all, you must leave. It's so bad here, okay, that if you have a contract, they can say, I was guilty in the contract. Gets voided. Gets voided. Okay, so they void the contract that she agreed to have sex with you consensually, okay? But still gets voided in the courtroom. Now you're a rapist. This is the West, people. Okay, this is a clown fest. Okay, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, and they expect you to stay here. Let that sink in, brothers. Let that sink in. They expect you to stay here when the laws are only getting worse. For example, in California, yes means yes. You must always keep telling the woman, are you okay? Are you good? During sex. If you do not, that is rape. Also, more laws for y'all. Stealthing, okay? Stealthing is when a man during sex takes off a condom. All right? Which I think is wrong. So that's sexual assault. I understand that. But a woman can take the condom, okay? Put it in her vagina, get it pregnant, and that is not rape. And you are paying child support. A doctor, okay, came in a girl's mouth. She put in the cup and put it inside herself, got pregnant. The court said, I kid you not, that sperm is a gift. A gift. That's why he's paying child support right now. This is the West, people. And they want you to stay here. Stay here. Okay? Blackheart, continue.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this more and more. There have been some crazy and outrageous cases recently. One of them involves a hotel maid, and she happened to see a bank statement of the guest on what the table, I think, or something like that. She also happened to find a used condom, so she impregnated herself with that, and the DNA test showed that he was in fact the father, even though he'd never met her. Um, he has to, yeah, he's responsible. So, yeah, the court systems are not set up for dads who give a rat's behind. And that was a long time ago, and now they're not set up for men in general. They're not set up at all. So, it's, yeah, it's something that you really wouldn't. I mean, you want to move somewhere where a lady doing something like that will be seen as a fool.
Yes, they punish. They punish that. Listen, they punish like those. We're behind. For example, all right. In other cultures I've talked to, other cultures, like women doing that nonsense is like seen as like horrible. It's like wrong with her. They're like, this girl's crazy. This girl's a whore. I mean, all those things. But in the West, well, he should have threw it in the trash can. Threw it in the toilet. People. Continue, Blackheart.
You know, the funny thing was long before I heard about this in the news, a relative of mine told me that was something that was done, and I was thinking, well, how come I don't hear about this in the news? Well, I later on went back and I asked the same relative, and what she told me was, I knew that this was going on because I heard the ladies talking in the hair salon when I go and get my hair done, and they would not only do stuff but brag about doing stuff. I mean, they would brag about doing stuff like this because they could brag. It was something that they got a high five for. So they were. She said that in these hair salons, and this is back in the States. She told me in these hair salons they talk and encourage each other. They trade advice and stories and tips on how to pretty much just extract as much as possible in exchange for as little as possible. And she said, so I mean, I knew about these games before they made the news because they were talking about it within earshot of me. I was right there. And so, yeah, you do have to understand that that is, they're going to do what they can get away with socially and legally. And socially and legally, they can get away with doing these things. So they're going to do it. Now, elsewhere, I don't know. It depends on where you go legally, but you do want to go somewhere where socially they're seen as a damn fool for doing it. For doing something like that, and that's you do want to examine the culture. I mean, you want to know, and you can pretty much ask the men. The men will tell you what would cause him to be seen as a fool in the eyes of the public. Um, so it's pretty much just based on what they can get away with, and what I've seen growing up. And I came up in the '80s and '90s. What I saw was whatever they could get away with doing, they were going to do it every time, no exceptions. As long as as long as they could get away with it, even just socially speaking, they would do it, and they did. So that goes back to what I said earlier too about how when I went back earlier, and earlier, if you go back, I said that a lot of times guys are not necessarily curbed for the reasons that you think. A lot of times guys aren't even curbed because he was ugly to her. A lot of times they're curbed because her friends would not approve. And so they become more and more competitive trying to get the same few guys, and they can brag about that. So you got to go places where that type of thing is seen as where they're held to a standard socially, even by each other. You got to go places like that, and that's really how you weed out a good place versus a bad place. It's one of the main ways you do it.
This right here, okay, people. I want y'all to understand how important this video is, the stream, this interview. All right, because he's telling y'all so much information that people will tell you is not true. Will tell you things like, for example, I get told things all the time by this. People are just straight wrong. Like, oh, non-Western girls don't want American men. I'm like, yeah, who are freaking Pookie Ray Ray don't want them. They want good behind caring men. That's what they want. If you're a good behind caring man who takes care of yourself, okay, you will at least get rewarded for your actions. You're not literally in the U.S. right now, currently, like competing for bottom tier, big as hell trash. Okay, trash behind women. We're behind makeup. None of that. Okay, you are just gotta find a chick. It's like, okay, it's my chick. You know what I mean? That's my girl. That's my wife. My spouse. Over here, it's like, okay, oh, are you 6 foot tall? What car do you drive? Oh my God! It's like, am I getting a job or girlfriend? What the hell is this? Like, it's crazy. It is insane. And y'all literally think it's so normal here because y'all, first off, y'all don't have top tier friends like that, but I do. I have top tier, considered Western top tier chaperone friends. I do. The chaperones aren't paying for no dates. They're screwing them raw. Okay, they're not pulling out. Best believe not pulling out. Okay. Example, Blackheart. Story time. All right. My homeboy. One time we were out, okay, chilling. We're out, get some food. He saw a girl. I kid you not, who he was with earlier, like a few hours back, with a different man. He came in her raw. Didn't pay for no meal, nothing, no date. She was on a date with a man. The dude was paying for things. That's what happens here. Okay? That right here is the thing that happens. Chaperone ain't paying for dates. Chaperone ain't going with a girl. Okay, when women say things like, why do men don't take me out on dates anymore? They mean chaperone. What chaperone? Listen, okay, chaperone will take you on a date. Why? Why? Chaperone will do it for free. Okay? They say things like, why aren't men more good anymore? You don't want those men. You want chaperone to be good. Okay? I can't find a nice dude. You want the nice looking chaperone for your friends to brag about. Okay? On Instagram. No. They're not looking for men as a package here, as a quality man to treat them well. They're looking for Instagram likes, vanity points, narcissism. Okay, that's why men. We told girl you get 0 shooting signals here. You're a non-select man to think that you're lying because it's projection. Okay, women here, whether bottom tier because they're not theory or top tier, are getting a constant positive reinforcement of attention. Men who are average, below average here in the bell curve do not get that at all. At all. They leave Blackheart, okay? Confirm, Blackheart, because you warned me, okay? They tell men, okay, who get curved at a young age, don't worry, bro. Keep trying. She'll come around eventually. Why? Why? Okay? Why do they keep telling men who keep getting curved that she'll come around eventually, keep on trying? Chaperone got it up the walls in a week. We've been trying for 9 months. Okay? 9 months. Okay? 9. He felt all the inches. Okay, like, understand. She is not going to come around eventually. That's not going to happen. Okay? It's over. The deal. But they keep telling you these lies to keep you feeding the system. Okay? The Gallocrats don't care about your feelings. They don't care. They do not. All right? They call Blackheart. They call men entitled for wanting love and attention and sex. What the hell is this? Okay, so is Chaperone entitled? Is he entitled over the freaking walls? Chaperone is beating the girl ass. Okay, beat her ass. Okay, get her ass beat by Chaperone. Is he entitled to sex? Or is he? Oh, is something wrong with him? No. But you, as an upbeat, caring man, they call you entitled. That makes no sense. Okay, but in the rest of the world, it's not the case at all. That's not normal there. Okay, so too many of y'all think y'all weird. No. Okay, understand. Okay, y'all are literally part of a cog of the machine. They want you to stay in the matrix for a reason. Okay? For a reason. Steve Blackheart?
Well, look, the thing is, as you said, they got you thinking you're weird. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. It's a really difficult thing to tell when they're also acting weird. See, remember, like I said, we have to be Superman just to qualify for Lois Lane. And you can see that when you're on, let's say you spend some time with some of the ones that are friends with you, the ones that are friend zoning you, so to speak. Watch how goofy they act. You can't act that goofy. And see, this goes back to what I said. We are wrong for this. We're wrong because we've made it too easy. Now, just like they're wrong for making it too difficult, they have the right to have their own standards in general, but they have made it too difficult. They pay that price later in life. But we have to understand we made a mistake in making it too easy. If their mindset is to make it difficult and put up barriers, then why do we sit up here and just wait for them to give the command to unzip? You see, that was our mistake because obviously their mindset wasn't like that. But we made it too easy as a whole, and to the point that they could act silly and goofy and childish around us, and we wouldn't say, "Wow, that's such a turnoff." Well, that was our boo boo. We should have done that. It is true they're not going to come around, and that's something that now men are beginning to understand. See, a long time when I was coming up, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have, let alone social media. Internet hit when I was right about the time I went to college. That's when internet started being in more and more people's homes, and even then, it was dial up. Social media was out of the question then. You didn't have the connection speeds necessary for something like this. So men really did not know. It just became mantras, and nice guys finish last became something that people said, but um, you never really could compare notes. And men really did not know how different other men had it. So if you were and see, I see Army Awake 44 saying the same thing. He didn't grow up with it either. So what happened back then was if you were the one that they chose, you didn't know how badly they were treating the ones they didn't choose. And if you were the one they didn't pick, you didn't always know how good they were treating or how well they were treating the ones that they really wanted. So type of guy really thought that they were the way that they presented themselves to be. Now with social media, we're able to compare notes because we men don't generally hate each other. And that's further proof that we're better than the so-called alpha and beta categories that the women
Yes.
try to give to us.
Yes.
Because unlike in nature, we don't hate each other. So we don't mind comparing notes. And that's why some guys that were getting, the ones posing with the right clothes, getting chosen, they would tell you, well, actually, bro, they pretty much decide in the first few minutes what they're
Yes.
going to do. Actually, bro, you ain't got to do all of that. And you're like, well, they're not going to come to me if I don't. Yeah, but see, they're not going to come to you anyway.
Anyways.
Right.
Anyways.
If that's the case, then they ain't coming to you no way. So and like they may not necessarily know why they were always being chased down. They thought that they were that's just how it was. And you wouldn't necessarily know why you were not being chased down until we began to put two and two together and realize, wait a minute, she's chasing you because the other ones are chasing you. It's a
Yes.
cycle. She's not chasing me or him because their friends aren't saying anything. They didn't even see us. So and then of course you start meeting the exchange students and they treat you much differently and you're just upset that she's only there on exchange. And you wish she could stay longer and she may wish, and then you begin to compare notes. So let's call it what it is. At the end of the day, a lot of us really didn't know. So you can't blame yourself for something you did not know. Now,
Yeah.
can men afford to learn charm? Yeah, sure, of course. But by the same token, women can afford to learn to act their age in the West, and they're not doing that.
Yes.
So it always balances out. We cannot accept the lion's share of responsibility for couples that did not form because we did not understand them. They understood us. We did not drive them away. They drove us away.
Yes.
We were confused about them. They were not confused about us. We did not know what they wanted. They knew what we wanted, and they said we're not going to do that. So at the end of the day, they got you thinking you're weird. You may be, but chances are, if you're weird, it's because of something you did not know. When they're weird, it's because they're childish. It sounds like a double standard, but that's actually what we're dealing with. And understand this too: non-Western women who know Western women have seen exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Um,
My friend, yes. Rest in peace,
They
sir.
yeah, they know. Now I asked a question months ago, before I tied the knot. when we were discussing something on the phone once, and I asked, back in college, in your college days, because she went to college in the States. I said,
Okay.
back in your college days, did you see, or yeah, did you see some ladies that had one guy for rides, another one for dinner, another one for
Yeah.
laundry, another
Minimum
one?
orbiters. Yeah, the
Uh,
orbiters.
well, that yeah, them and also somebody to, to get busy with. And she said, yeah, yeah, I knew that happened. And then I asked, well, okay, now when you think back to it, how many of them did that? And she thought and said, oh yeah, a lot.
Woo!
Now then I asked her, okay, now do you know how many guys do that? She said no, and I told her I never met them when I was in college, because many men cannot sit up and just say I'm just going to have one for this and another one for that, because we make ourselves too easy, but
Yes.
they don't make themselves that easy. So most men actually are not considered good enough to sit up and say
They
they're
literally
going to leave
move
a
the
woman.
goal. Yes, they move the baseline. I'm in college right now, okay? And in college, I'm telling you, the baseline is off the chain. It's freaking ridiculous, okay? Literally, okay, because it's okay. Women here, the box here is so expensive, okay? It's so expensive. It's really expensive here, man, for no reason, all right? The baseline is off the chain now, okay? It's insane, okay? Absolutely insane how women will be in college, okay, and don't want men on campus. They ugly, blah, 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 blah. But they in shape though. At least whatever, okay. Most girls I talk to, okay, in college, their man is out of school, or not in school at all. Most of them. Oh, where's your boyfriend at? Oh, he's has a career, or he's not in school. At least half of them, at least half. The other half are sharing the same exact men. You don't even know it. So, men, understand the truth here. Here's the truth. You're in school, okay? The girl that you want does not want you because she wants Chatterone. Chatterone is not in school. He's a scammer, okay? He sells freaking bitchy bags that are freaking fake behind bags, fake behind Gucci. He sells freaking weed out of his car, okay? That's what she wants. You are in school struggling, passing your classes, you know what I mean? Trying to get an internship. But meanwhile, what she's doing? She's curving you, okay, while in school for the same exact dudes. And that's the quote unquote good girls. So, good girls want good dudes. No, they don't. Video coming soon. Continue.
Well, are you familiar with BGS Ibmore?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I
he
love it.
talked about the
Great channel.
he
Great
was
channel.
so you heard him describe the different octanes based on class and education. 85 octane, 92. I take it. Did you hear that?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. Well, the 85 octanes are pretty much your stereotypical ratchet. 87s and 90s, I think, are they were in the middle. They may not have a bunch of education, but they could behave with some class, or they may have had education and a little bit less class. And then of course they're your 92 octanes. They come from class and education and generational wealth.
Yeah.
I came up, now I didn't come up wealthy, but I did come up in a 92 octane environment.
Same
So
here.
if so, okay, then you will have seen this, and I want the audience members to pay attention to this. We have been told many times, why don't you go for someone more similar to you with a shared interest? And that's logically speaking, that's right. You go with someone with a similar interest. But the thing is that it's not, when you're a Western man, that's not necessarily an option, because, like you said, they're going after the same ones.
The
See
same
the site,
dudes.
right? See the
See?
site, and understand that the 92 octanes, like you said, are going after, say, the 85 octane guy, or maybe even if he's 92, but he just happens to be pursued by enough others, and there's enough competition for him. Pre-selected, as Edward Anderson would say, that the pre-selected ones. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I want you guys to realize that this is not necessarily a new phenomenon that you got to go around proving to people when they ask you, why are you by yourself? When I was back in '99, I was told, or I was asked why I was by myself, and what I remember was another. I remember a particular lady. She grew up with me. She's about a year older, 92 octane. Our parents are friends to this day. She began to well, I found out that she had an interest. So I finally called, and I gave a chance, gave her a shot. We never went anywhere. She said, I'll hit you back up, and then never did. I happened to see her later. We were still nice to each other.
Yeah.
But the thing was that once I gave her a shot, that was when she just went completely cold. Now,
In my life.
That's what it's that's how it is. Now I found out later. I mean, I told my mother later on that this is a serious thing. Where what they want are guys they can show off, and they can show off either a thug or a professional athlete or a rapper. They can't show off someone that came up 92 octane. Although we didn't have that term back then. Not for we had it for gas, but not for people. You know.
Yeah, I say chatterone. You know, I call them chatterones.
Well, see, the thing is, Chevron just means you're pre-selected. You could be 85
Yes.
octane. You could be the thug on. You could be the thug drug dealer.
Yeah.
It just means that you pretty much are just saying that you're being pre-chosen in this competition for you.
Yes.
So there will be more competition. But when I say 92 octane dudes, I'm talking about guys that came up upper middle class education.
Yeah, good behind you. Yeah, proper, just good. Yeah.
Exactly, and they are what they're doing is they are studying and they go to dental school or medical school or something of that nature. So what I was telling my mother was that, see, you can't be that guy and they show you off. They can't brag about that.
Yeah.
And this was just I simply I was suspecting that it was about what they could show off. I wasn't really even sure. And so the thing was that my mother said, well, see, Black, you're up here making this up. You're just making excuses. And so
my mom saying that. Oh, my mom saying that right now.
You see, there you go.
I'm saying that right now.
Play this clipboard. Then play this clipboard because I'm gonna tell you what happened next.
All right.
My mother went to the city to meet a lot of her friends and have some kind of brunch with them. Among them was the mother of this particular young lady that flaked out when I gave her a chance. But there were others too. And see, in that city, most of them had daughters, and they were looking for someone for their daughters. My mother had only 2 sons, so they asked my mother about my brother and me. And my mother said, well, they say that these women only want like football players and basketball players, rappers, and maybe even drug dealers, and that you got to have a certain type of car with a certain kind of sound system in it. And I mean, is that even true? And they all said, yes, that's why we're asking you. So my mother didn't believe it when I told her, but she believed it when her friends told her, to her credit. Later on, I explained to my mother there's something else. They want the same few men. So they have different personalities. I'm not saying they're all the same, Mom. They may have different color flowers that are favorites. They like different movies, maybe. But when it comes to the men, they are the same. They want the same few men because there's a competition. And they lose status socially when they get someone that others aren't checking for. She said, that doesn't even make sense. My own father jumped in and said, you see, Black just gets these ideas in his head, and then that's it. It must be true. Well, now we know from the statistics.
Yes, it is. I got on tap. Yes, it is.
So, let your mom know that and let her know and see, you're in Florida now. I don't know which coast you live close to, but I grew up on the Gulf Coast, not of Florida, but I grew up on the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
So regionally speaking, what we're talking about is not going to be that far off, what you're going through and what I went through.
It's not, man. Look, I tried this, man. I tried, okay? It's called the Belmont Principle. The Belmont Principle is basically that women pre-select men and their ultimate decider of relationships. For me, it's obvious because, we court women, we propose to them, you know what I mean? So they really basically choose men, ultimately, on them like a job, you know what I mean? Selecting a candidate for work. Now, for me, Man's Fear Maniac in the chat, okay? He said that the girls that he wants want white dudes. I understand that feeling entirely, okay? Because I'm alternative, okay? I do a lot of Afro-punk culture all the time and stuff. And growing up as a kid, growing up and stuff, it's like, how I put it, when you are more alternative like me, you know what I mean? I like bad brains, like that and stuff. And the girl that you want to get with, they don't want you, especially nowadays. Especially now because, on social media, dating apps, even though quote-unquote weird girl, the more off girl does not want you. No. She wants the chatterone version of you or the chat rooms in general, okay? In my high school, for example, the more drama girls were sleeping with football players. Football players, okay? Okay, listen, y'all, in the chat. Disney lied to y'all. Disney lied, all right? Disney told y'all you go to high school, you're gonna find that girl who's like you, and you're gonna have the same interest, you're gonna have like we're gonna fall in love. No, that's not true. Okay, that's not true. Those girls that are even more weird like you, first of all, your interests are male dominated. it's like 1 in 8. Okay, for example, you like anime, you like metal, like punk, whatever, or just jazz. That's mostly a male-dominated space. The more off girl will choose the chat around or chat light of that group. You will get nothing. Okay, nothing. So if you're ever told, oh, why don't you get a girl with you that you like, the same interest as you? It's because those same exact girls are the minority. You're part of the majority. You're competing with men off a huge behind bell curve. Huge. All right? That's why men who are more alternative, okay, will literally shoot they shot at all kind of girls. Girls that are bad, girls that are good, girls that are small, girls, all these kind of girls, because they're playing a numbers game. But understand that as a Western phenomenon. In other countries, that's not the rule at all to happen. Okay? Now, understand, if you're more alternative, okay, more different, okay? If you like, let's say, more weird black girls, I know for a fact, first-hand experience, either you're gonna pick the top tier chatterone dude or a white man. Okay, listen. Go to any dating app, okay? Okay, Cupid. Go to any Instagram page of a black cosplayer. Most of their boyfriends are white. Blackheart, on video, I kid you not, a girl said that she did not date quote unquote weird black dudes as a weird black girl because she'd be like, they be off, they be strange. I'm like, girl, that's you. That's really you. That's you. In the comments, Blackheart, the comments were all black women, okay, who are just like her. Yeah, that's right, girl. I'll do either. The more weird girl thinks she's Megan Thee Stallion, okay, who a fake weird girl. They believe that they're Megan Thee Stallion, so they want to get the same with that dude or the white man. If you are a weird, I would say just alternative black man, okay, you would not get girls like you that are black. I'm sorry, in America, excuse me, in the West. This is how it is. I'm sorry. It's the truth. If you want to get that kind of girl, you must leave the West. I'm telling you from first-hand experience. I see the first-hand with my clients. So please. Stop being, understand the whole, I'm going to get a girl like me with, no, it's not true. They're lying to you. Don't do it. Don't. D Blackheart.
All right. First thing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to address that about the when he said how the ones that have the same interest in him. See, he didn't say the ones he likes. He just said the ones that have the same interest in him are going after white dudes. Now, yes. I'm not sure what, let me see exactly who it was that said that.
That was Maniac Mito. Manosphere Maniac, excuse me.
Okay, all right, Manosphere Maniac. I don't know how old he is, but I'm gonna tell you this. When I was, and this is important to understand, when I was coming up, okay, there's somebody that just gave me a compliment for making good content, but I can't pronounce your name because it's written in Japanese, I think. But thank you, I appreciate the compliment. When I came up, black women were known for not wanting men of any other race. Period.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, okay. They were. That's correct.
They did not, and this was known that, and as a black man with a non-black phenotype, unrecognizable oftentimes, I was told to know in certain terms back in 2001, and I mentioned how I was told this, and then I forgot about it until 2017. Something jarred my memory, but I was told, and know in certain terms in 2001. I never had trouble based on being ugly. I had trouble based on being unrecognizable because they wanted only black men. And if you don't, even though being with me would not be the same as interracially dating, because if you're black, I'm black, we're the same race. They were looking at how it looked from the outside looking in. They didn't want to look like they were interracially dating, especially if they weren't doing it. So I understood it, and I didn't take it personally because I'm militantly pro-black. And I figured, okay, if sisters are trying to take us back to a more original phenotype, I'm actually going to get on board with that, even if it means that I have to be by myself. But they cannot come along and say that I can't date someone of another background.
Okay,
they can't do that. That was my line was that. My line was, you don't tell me that we can't do it. We can't be a couple, but I have to stay here and wait until some non-existent sister's going to come along and say, I don't mind. That wasn't going to happen. Now, what I'm saying is that back then, this was clear. This was a wall I came up on, and it was not going to bend. It was not flexible. That's it. And other brothers were facing the same thing. They had to be at least recognizable. But If they were pale and their hair was 4C, or if their hair was straight, but otherwise they just look like a black person with straight hair, they could get away with that.
Yeah.
But you couldn't pass as something else. So this was the studies show this. They did not want anything but a black man, and preferably the blackest of the black. If they were consistent with that, we would be okay with it.
Oh, that's changed so much, man. I got the data on tap. I got data on tap, bro. On tap.
I know.
Oh man, it's changed. Continue, Blackheart.
I know, but see, the thing is, not only has it changed between the generations, between our age groups, it has changed within my age group. So
What?
after all this talk, yes. See, after all this talk about he got to be chocolate and all that. Now what I'm saying is that within my own age group, not as much, but it does exist. They're out here. My last time I visited the United States, I saw a bunch of sisters walking with white dudes, and so what I'm saying is that it's not only that. Look at the standards they have when you're black. See, you're saying that they're chasing after these white guys. What I want you guys to understand is this: even though they're allowed to have their own preferences, they're not consistently expressing what these preferences are and then going after them. So you can't be an alternative black man, but you will chase an outright goofball white guy.
Oh yes, they will. I got data on tap. I got data on tap. I got data on tap. Facts.
That is why. See, that's why it is that if you all are going to share this book, Beta Male Revolution, between you all in the chat, you read it for understanding, but not to make changes or improvements for these Western women, because they're simply you now have proof they're going to move the goalpost anyway. You can learn these things in order to help you make a non-Western woman happy if she's willing to do the same for you, but you already know the Western woman's going to change the goalpost. If you are black especially, and she's black, then you have to be the stereotype, the negative stereotype. You got to be the thug. But you have to be something that scares white people and other black men. But if you are white, she's not going to hold you to that standard. You could be an outright stereotypical goofball of a white guy, and she will still give you a chance.
I think there's so many white dudes about this, man. Someone to talk to about, oh, black women should be the best. I'm like, because you're white. Oh no, because you're white. And also, real talk, okay. First off, if they're ADOS like me, okay, I'm ADOS, Black Native American, okay. Yeah. They're not as bad as the flag girls. The flag girls are the worst, okay? If they have a flag in their bio, they are way worse than all types of Western black women, okay? First off, they're not from the country they say they are from. They're not Jamaican, they're not Bahamian, they're not Barbados, they're not from freaking Puerto Rico, DR. I can assure you, that flag is for non-black men. It's for them, okay? For example, example. One girl I talked to was Dominican. Black girl, Dominican. Blackheart. She curved me so hard for this dude who was like non-black. And women like her, what they do is, let's say they're Latina, they're black, okay? They're like, can you speak Spanish? Yes, I can, Poppy. I can speak Spanish, Poppy. What is that doing? That is self-specialization, okay? So for the non-black man, they will self-specialize themselves, okay? But for black men, oh, I'm black, bro. What you mean? Speak Spanish. Bait and switch. Bait and switch. Also, the data on tap, okay, proves this. First off, black women respond more to white men than white women do on dating apps. Facts, okay? Data on tap. You need the citation, I'll give it to you. Also, on data as well, black women pursue the most non-monolithic group of men. More than black men. This is a fact. That on tap. Okay, if you need to see that I can. Okay, this is the truth. All right. So the truth is in the West. Okay, why they have attitudes. Okay, why these certain things. Here's the truth they will never tell you, because they are envious of black dudes, how other groups perceive them and even fetishize them. That's why that Western black women all talk about, oh, I mean, there was fetishize black men. That's jealousy. That's projection. They want to be fetishized. They call themselves goddess, call themselves chocolate for a reason. Queen for a reason. That is self-realization, because they want to be seen the same way that they see us as men. Meanwhile, by the way, they're getting rawed, but not claimed, and that makes them bitter. This is where the attitudes come from, because I promise you, my own grandmother, okay, who is still alive, has told me, Blackheart, I kid you not, Do not date a Western black girl. They'll put you on child support. Do not date a Western white girl. They'll put you in jail. She said the same. She said they changed. They changed. And my grandma, keep in mind, my grandmother, her first husband abandoned her with the kids. With the freaking worked hard and stuff, you know what I mean, for her family. And she's against welfare. She's against welfare stuff. She hates it. So you gotta understand, brothers, okay? Understand that my own grandma has lived it and has seen the shift in culture. And understand that what you are trying to accept here and compete for and stress out about and cry about, okay, and lose sleep over is not about how it should be at all. Understand that you must, if you want to get a black girl who's Dominican, go to DR. Colombian, go to Colombia. Panama, go to Panama, okay? Please do not entertain these flag girls. They are not foreign, they're Western as hell. Do you, Blackheart?
Well, yeah, when you're dealing with them and the ones that are trying to make themselves seem to be exotic, they're pretty much just trying to say, well, okay, since ADOS has been ruined, or since ADOS women have a bad reputation, I'm something else.
Yes.
And so if now I would say this, the fact that they have to do that, whereas we can go abroad, and what people don't realize, black men don't have to be American to be appealing. It helps, but black men do not have to be American to be appealing when we go abroad. The fact that we can still be American and appeal when we go abroad, and they locally or abroad have to say that there's something else. Actually, the fact that they have to stay in the States and say that there's something else tells you that they're aware that they have driven their men off. They're aware of that. They know we did not drive them away, they drove us away. And I would say that right now what you have is sisters out there waving the false flag, whereas you don't necessarily have white Western women doing that I've heard of. I didn't hear about them doing that. I did hear about them blackfishing, but I haven't heard about them just outright waving the false flag. I'm from Sweden. And the thing is, they can't really do that anyway, because the countries that they can claim are Western nations. So this just further solidifies the point that you need to go abroad. Now, if you all want to trade that book, Beta Male Revolution, I think that was written by Alan Roger Curry, if I'm not mistaken. I'm talking to the gentleman in the chat.
Yes.
If y'all want to trade that book, go ahead and trade it and read and all that. This will give you an understanding, but he's not going to tell you one thing, and he's admitted he won't do that. He said in some of his videos that he's not going to tell you that the Wicked Witch of the West is the problem. That's because he's a Chad Rome. He's been one. He found out that he was largely due to the internet and social media, but he's also a man that has admitted that he slept with his friends' girlfriends and wives, and he's been chased after and stuff like that. And at this point, he's not in the best of health, and he himself does not really expect a whole lot of commitment from the lady that he's dating now. He said he wants to settle down, start a family, but he's also getting sick now at this point. So it hasn't really worked out for him, even though he was so-called alpha and digging out the Western women and digging out the ones that everybody else wanted. And even though he's the one that bragged about, you know, getting sloppy toppy from somebody else's wife and then telling her to go kiss her husband on the mouth in front of people, just so he could feel like he got over it. So he has the knowledge, but you cannot necessarily go down the path that he's telling you to go down. You take what he's written, learn the knowledge he's given you, and then you can apply it to return the favor to a non-Westerner who's going to use the charm on you as well. That's the best thing to do, because see, he's going to tell all of you in here, if you ever say you've had trouble with the Westerners, he's going to say it's your fault. You didn't do something right.
You're weak. Need more game, more confidence. Need more money, bro. All those. Okay, they're all wrong. They're lying to you. It's a lie. Okay, it's a lie. Okay, people.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you why he did that.
Yeah.
Do you know why he'll say this?
Because their system is they sell like seminars. They sell books, seminars, all those things. That's
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Now he's the opposite of a pimp. A pimp is trying to sell the woman to you. Understand? He's trying to actually sell you to them. because he understands guys like him, like you said, the chat rooms, they don't pay for dates because they don't have to. They still understand that these women need someone to pay for their food. They need someone to fix the plumbing, uh, things like that. That is where you come in. They are aware. See, many chat rooms aren't aware of how much these women extract from the other guys. They're not
At
aware of that.
all. At
Right.
all.
He's one of those that is very aware of this, and that's why Man of Tomorrow has been going in on him. I mean, Man of Tomorrow has pretty much called him a skunk and everything else, really dissed him and his whole ilk because of one thing. Man of Tomorrow has said the wicked witches of the West now know that they are trying to go through a whole face, ride the cock carousel, and then come back to you when they hit the wall and they can't get the same options anymore. But they still have a lot of non-physical needs that they need met,
Hold on a
or
second.
a lot of non-sexual.
Also, to the incel that watch my channel, the wall is real. Please stop saying the wall is fake. It is definitely real. I put it several times. The wall is real. All the wall is when a woman passes her prime, so the options she could have got before her life, she can't get anymore. That's why women in their 30s complain about men in their 30s, women in their 20s. Women in their 20s, excuse me. That's the wall, okay? The wall is when a woman is past their biological prime. That's all it is, okay? And believe me, women hate it. They hate it, okay? They can still get someone to get. They can still get a backup beta backup. Excuse me. They're always gonna be around, but they don't want that. They want to have to chat roll because they used to have chat roll inside them and loving it. Oh my god, I want chat roll so badly. But that is what the wall is, people. It is real. Okay, it's not about options. It's about who can they get. Okay, try to understand this concept. Okay, also the PUAs you all listen to. Okay, they are scam artists using actors. Okay, also understand they're always in Toronto, always in Manhattan, always in Brooklyn, always in London, always in Vegas, always in LA. Why? Why are they in the most gynocentric, extreme, pickiest cities? Okay, because for seminars to be in the field is because that for them, okay, gives them the best results. When they fly you out to, let's say, Brooklyn, okay, fly you out to LA, and you get no girls at all for a week, put 1,000 girls, cold approaching them because you're not select, what happens? Get nothing at all. I understand, man. I'll get the girls. When they tell you, it's okay, man, don't worry. You need more confidence, bro. Here's my next plan, my next book. You are feeding the lie, okay? Okay, tell me this, okay? If you use game, all right, quote unquote, game theory, in a non-Western city or country, how come it works? How come it works? All of a sudden they want to work? How come all of a sudden the girls are nice to and kind? Because they have different core values in the culture. The goalpost is moved. The baseline has moved. The location is everything. I'm telling you, the location is so important, okay? And the fact that they call y'all weak for maximizing location, it says a lot. See, Blackheart?
Well, if you were to use game, it's seen as something as supplemental. They don't really. Here's the thing, though. They don't really have a concept of what you call game. I mean, there is charm, there's good manners, but if I try to translate the word game into this language, it literally means a game you play, some sort of competition.
Yes.
It doesn't. It doesn't mean that you were charming per se. It's not like that. So we have to understand that concept of game is specifically a Western concept that allows the ladies and guys like ARC to benefit. See, ARC was pre-selected for whatever reason. Keep in mind, also, there's another thing. ARC came up in a city that was facing depression in the post-industrial age, but his family was not financially depressed, so he was ahead in that regard. And so these are certain advantages. And the thing, reason I know this, ARC does not know I exist, and that's good. But I got relatives that grew up in the same city. They may, if I ask them, they may even know this guy.
Ooh.
I think I may have heard one of my cousins mention someone like that. But one of my cousins that's from that same city is exactly like ARC to an extent. He's had them falling at his feet. And the thing was that when he finally got married, he couldn't turn off the cheating and the womanizing. He married a good woman. He married a good woman, but he ran her off. So since then, they've gotten divorced. He's gotten in trouble for approaching the nurses at the hospital where he works. He's married. He's been remarried twice, and he's since then only married Central American women. So it's but I mean, he was, it was all about status with him. He had a lot of that ego. He had to wear his dingling on his sleeve, and to a certain extent, that's the same thing that ARCs had to do, even to the point he's admitted this. So the fact is this: he understands them because they have not hidden themselves from him to begin with. So what he's telling you is not necessarily going to work anyway for a lot of you. It's good to know.
Repeat that. Repeat it one more time. Repeat it, Blackheart. Repeat that.
Okay. What he's telling you that has worked for him would not necessarily work for many of you anyway. But
Let that sink in. Yeah, because no. Let that sink in, okay?
Right.
They'll
it's
tell
good
you.
to know this.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
good to know this. Matter of fact, it's not good. It's necessary to know this, but you have to understand that some of these same things from you would simply land you in jail or land you in a lawsuit based in today's current climate. Socially
Repeat that.
and legally.
Repeat that, Blackheart. Repeat that.
The same things that he may say worked for him could wind up getting you in jail or in a lawsuit based on based on the current climate. So at the end of the day, it comes down to this: what he did, they wanted him to do anyway. Plus, they were willing to pretty much take anything from him. What I'm getting at is that he learned the game because it was made easy for him from the very beginning. That's what that's about. So what I want these guys to understand is that whole pickup artistry stuff, that's foolishness. And here's the reason: you're the ones who have to pay for him to play. He plays and does not pay. Most chaperones don't know that there's a bill anyway in the first place.
They don't
He's
know.
aware, right? He is one of those that's aware that there is a bill, but he's not being presented with it. So he wants you to keep trying so that you will continue to pay so that he can continue to play. That's all it is. When you get your passport and you bounce, if enough of you did this, if this was the norm, if it was just understood that when you reach the age of majority, 18, you're going to get a skill set and a passport. And when you've got enough saved up, you're gone, whether it's half the year, all the year, or you just visiting. If this becomes understood, then what happens at that point is, I'm going to put it to you like this. Not only would the government stop issuing passports to certain demographics, he and the women would be the ones calling for the government to do it. They would be the ones saying, stop this, don't give them passports, because they know that at that point the game is over, because now she has to go to someone to pay the bills and she can't go to you. So she can't play with him and get you to pay. She has to go to him to get that price paid, and he can't pay it. Not only him, but us as well. Now, Man of Tomorrow's been digging in. Mostly, we thought that he was taking indirect shots at Ron Bills. That's what we thought in the beginning. Maybe he was, maybe he was not. But now I come to understand that he was definitely going in on, he was including ARC. If he knows who it is, he was including him in what we're about. These are reverse. They can't sell, and I'm too old, not sell these broads to me. Old, I'm Muslim, I'm married, I already live abroad. I found out that's where SBM accidentally, but he can't sell them to me. He can't sell them to a lot of other guys in my age group. He can't sell them to a lot of the guys that are teaching with me as colleagues. They've also married from outside the West in many cases. He has to sell them to you young cats. And I'm here to turn the game upside down on its head and to tell you young guys, like my man Information Classic says, do not the food. You are the food right now in their minds, but don't be the food. Now they got to go and find their own supply. They got to find their own resources. They got to pull their own weight, financially speaking, and everything else. And these dudes, they got a sweet deal. And the ones who know that you're paying for them to have a sweet deal are not willing to give that up. So they'd rather tell you, you need to continue to try and don't give up. All it is this. They're kind of like they're like the parasites, really, to a certain extent. The ones that don't know, they don't know. Don't blame them. They don't know that. Some chaperones, they really think it's just that easy, and they don't mean you any harm.
Yes.
But they're also the ones who will, if they listen to you and you compare notes, they're the ones who would say, whoa, they're playing you. They're messing it up. The ones like ARC are the ones who'll say, well, see, it's your fault because you got that double chin. And okay, I'm not saying you should have a double chin.
You lose, okay. Yeah, you lose. Okay, this happens every time. It happens every time. Okay, you look smacks. Okay, lose weight, better appearance. You know what I mean? Maximize your looks with maximization. you still get no results. And then when they tell you, you lack confidence, you lack game, okay? You do exactly as they say. When they tell you, we're not doing that right, I'm doing this right. So they'll keep moving the baseline, the goalpost, okay, on purpose. Because they know if you know the truth, all right, then they will lose all their money, all of it. Because you literally can say, all right, brothers, listen, okay, go to the gym, look good, take care of your teeth, take care of your health, you know what I mean? Take care of your money, go to Brazil, go to Peru, go to Malaysia, you can find a girl. Oh, they lose all the money, bro. That money's gone. The money's gone. That's their business.
Yeah, that money is gone, and it definitely is. And I would say that, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of you that may need to go to the gym. Most human beings in general need more gym membership. See, that's the thing. But that goes for, that goes also as well for both genders. And right now, a lot of militant feminists are saying we don't want to hit it goes both ways. We're sick of hearing that argument. Well, when it comes to races, things don't go both ways. There's one that oppresses, the others get oppressed. And then the ones in the middle have ganged up on one particular race. That's your and my race, Pluto. That's how it works with races. But see, we're trained not to say that. But then when it comes to gender, where things really do tend to go both ways, we're taught not to say that. We're told not to say it when it actually does happen. But the same thing is happening because they're saying that because of what they're telling us that we shouldn't say it. They're able to do more than what we're doing.
Also to my non-black listeners, even if let's say you're white, okay, even amongst Europeans they got beef, okay, amongst Europeans they got beef. Like, I don't think so. Understand that even the hierarchy goes beyond that, and y'all know it's firsthand experience. If you're Romanian, they call you a gypsy, they call you dirty. You know it's true. You know it's true.
Yeah.
Continue, Blackheart.
Yeah, your white listeners do know about this, but they would not necessarily tell that to you or me. Well, they may tell it to me if they don't know I'm black when they see me, but they wouldn't knowingly tell you or me this. But yeah, this does happen, and I'm not going to front. I'm not necessarily an ally. I'm not an ally to the white community until they pretty much go broke from paying reparations. But this case, I can somewhat sympathize because. I can sympathize with the younger ones because they were born into this situation. They didn't create it. But their fathers and their grandfathers, mothers and grandmothers did create it. My beef with them is that they'll try to defend their parents and their grandparents like they ain't do nothing. And they'll try to defend their grandparents whenever we say, yeah, but see, look what you inherited that we didn't get to inherit. And that's why I've got a disagreement with the current generation. It's not necessarily a hatred, but I'm going to let them know up front that I'm not their ally. My major concern, my foremost concern is it's black folk. And I want black folk to get out of this situation that we're in. And it's not only in the US, it's happening. I mean, Canada, UK, thing. But I'm letting them know up front, my major concern is black folk. If they're able to take something and fix their own community, it's their business. Congratulations. But however, I know a lot of the stuff is applicable. I mean, they have their own dating coaches that are running around saying, just be more alpha, bro. Just go to the gym, bro. It's your fault, bro. And they got their own. And they're probably going to naturally, and who could blame them, take what I'm saying and go back to these guys and say to them, look, don't try to sell us this anymore. I'll say this, though, to all of them. To all Western men in general, and really even to Western women, I have found the solution to this stuff, but it's not saying they can take my word for it. They can't assume that what I'm telling them is or is not. They have to research it for themselves, and then they would see the truth of what I'm telling them. And that is that in my faith, the system is set up to where there are mechanisms to where you can avoid winding up with someone that's just a bad person. It doesn't guarantee that every union's going to work out, but you do it. There are mechanisms by which you can avoid getting with a bad person in general. But they have to research that for themselves. And I could tell them the search terms, and then they could look it up. But a lot of what I've dealt with, a lot of my good fortune has come not only because I left, but it is also because of specifically where I went and specifically how I was trained to behave before I left the United States. I'm very lucky now, and there's some other guys that are too. But now getting back to this thing about the PUAs, right? Getting back to them. It's like I said, the pimp is the one that sells, he tries to sell her to you. These guys are just reverse pimps. They're trying to sell you to her. What if you went to one of these dudes?
Repeat that one more time. One more time. That's
Fair enough.
It's too good.
Fair enough. The pimp tries to sell her to you. But these reverse pimps are trying to sell you to her. But in both cases, you're the one that has to dish out the money if you're going to go either route. And that's why I can't really advise either route. I can't, morally speaking, I can't tell you to go and trick in these other countries trying to find somebody. It's not the way that's going. That's not the way really it's going to work. People are going to do it, but I can't tell you to do that. The thing is this: you wind up having to pay. If you're going to take advice from these pickup artists, you're still the one that has to pay, but he's selling you to her. Really, that's what he's doing. The route that I would go is the family route. That's where it's the route that my buddy in Malaysia and the lady that he wants to marry are going. If you like each other, then you meet the families and you see what y'all can work out. And she has some kind of male relative that vets the man that wants to marry her, because men can read other men. And that's really the system that's been a stable system, even in non-Muslim societies. It's been like that, like in Romania, where they call them the gypsies. Well, in the old system, that's what it was like. You expect two people to like each other. Okay, that's going to happen at some point, but they meet the families. And some of her male relatives vet him so that they don't match up the good with the bad and the bad with the good, you see? And this is in a verse now. We have it in the Quran. It says I think it says the pure for the pure and the fornicator for the fornicator. And I can't remember exactly what verse it is. But in Ecclesiastes, you've got a verse that says that the righteous woman is for the righteous man. So pretty much what I'm saying is that you have it in Revelation, one revelation after the other, saying that you don't match bad people up together. These pickup artists don't care about that. The pimp does not care about that, and the pickup artist doesn't care about that. As a matter of fact, they have to match up somebody that's not good for somebody else, and that's how they make their money. So if these guys want to read that book that ARC put out just to understand the games that will probably be played on them, that's great. They could tell their kids, but they got to understand that they need to learn about the rest of the world, find a country that is good for them to be a better person and go there. And then starting a family could very well take care of itself if they're going to go that route. Because if they stay where they are, okay, they might enjoy everything about life except the fact that having a family is not an option at all. You see, being married is not an option. And most of us would rather have our kids in a marriage than to have them outside of a marriage if we're going to have kids at all, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's so bad here, honestly, that, for example, I talk to girls here, because for me, I don't want any kids. I don't want to have no kids at all, personally, in the West. Keep it real. If I say I don't want to have any kids, Blackheart, in the West because of the culture, I get ghosted in curves. So they know that, first off, they don't want to leave the West, and two, they know the benefits they have here, the benefits. And when you as a man say you don't have kids here because I don't benefit having kids here, the kids don't either benefit themselves here in the culture, the women here will not all in the West want to be with you. Let that sink in, brothers. So if you want to have a family in the West, okay, why? Why? And also understand, if you want to leave the West and say have a chick there from the West to come with you, that will not happen. Because they want to stay in the West because of my family. No. Because of the benefits they get here from the Gao-centrism off the rails, okay? Like permanently off the rails. They want to keep those benefits without the responsibilities for a reason. So to vet women here, okay, that's what I do as well. If you say you don't have kids, you don't have kids, or say you have vasectomy, okay, watch their reaction, okay? Their reaction is very telling. Remember, brothers, it's not about who they say they want, it's who they've been with or are pursuing. That's it. I want to have a nice, caring dude who's good. They do not, okay? The ex-boyfriends are all 6'3" chatterons, okay? From behind jawline. Cheat on them, okay? They don't want a good caring. They don't want that here. They do not. They chase after the freaking Trey songs, the Drakes, okay? The babies. They want these off the rail, walk behind dudes. who look good to their friends. They don't care. They don't look for men who are good to treat them well. They don't. They do not. Okay? They do not. Once you understand the truth, okay, it's better for you to become your lifestyle choices as well. First, when you control your life, okay, and build your career, have it in a way to where you focus on having a family outside the West, okay? If you want to have a family, or you want to live outside the West with a long-term partner, because you are literally playing a game on hard mode for no reason. For no reason. And in many cases, it's only getting harder. You think Blackheart?
Yeah, I'm still with you. I'm listening. Keep this in mind, though. See, if you listen to Donovan Sharp's channel, he reviews these articles that a lot of them have written, and then what they're doing, what a lot of them are saying now. You'll notice that see, for the ones in my age group, the exes were, as you said, but the ones in your age group, or in between our two age groups, I'm assuming that you're in your 20s.
Yes, I am. Early 20s.
All right, early 20s. So then for the ones that are in between our two age groups, their exes were not those. That's not who their exes were, because they didn't have committed relationships with these gentlemen, these guys they were with, or the ones that they're complaining about not being with them. Those were not the committed relationships, because they couldn't get them to commit in the first place. You understand?
Yes.
That's how it's been changing. So I mean, you know, we're here talking about the disintegration of the West to a certain extent, the moral disintegration and what it's going to do to the future generations. Well, see, it's already gotten to that point. So in your age group right now, they're not having committed relationships with them. They're having hookups with them that they want to remember as committed relationships. Then as they get older, they're going to start and as they get older, they're going to start writing these similar articles, except they're going to write articles about how they couldn't get commitments from these particular ones. Well, yeah, they couldn't, because the competition was so intense that these cats didn't have to commit. Now, there were guys who fit this profile. I mean, there are those who fit this profile per se, but they don't necessarily want to be a part of that carousel. So the thing is that they're not going to be the ones that that the ones in your age group remember. They're not going to write necessarily about them, because they're not going to have any memories of them, because they didn't put their things on the carousel. So and the ones who find them, they may actually be willing to commit. They may prefer the commitment. Actually, it's safer that way. It's cleaner as long as it's two ways. But see, though, the ones who find them are going to be very, very lucky. It's like hitting the lottery, and that's where the rarity comes in. But the ones who find them aren't going to be writing any articles about it. The majority are going to be trying to write articles about who they couldn't get to commit.
Yes.
And so, you know, there's a reason that we're talking about bouncing out of the West. It's not that's not a normal thing. I mean, the instincts may still be there, but the expectation is not everywhere you go. And the way that you can tell that it's going to disintegrate, it's not just the states. The way you can tell that there's going to be a disintegration to a certain extent is going to be this. You taught in classrooms, I taught in classrooms.
Yes.
We both saw that the instincts that people have were present, which is normal, but when they were uncontrolled, the mutually exclusive instincts created these scenarios. What I mean specifically is, you and I would like to get money without working, but we don't demand and expect it.
Yes.
We were dealing with kids who demanded and expected to get the highest grades while doing no work.
Yes.
Okay, all right. They demanded the rights and refused to carry out the responsibilities. That's what the market there is like as well. That meat market or that mating market, it is exactly that same thing. They are demanding, and there are guys that are doing the same thing. It's just that generally speaking, those guys are a few and they're allowed to do this. Like I said, there are guys that are doing it, but I'm gonna come back to them. What we're dealing with is a scenario in which they have been told, Sapphire and Boom Chic and Bonquisha and Becky and Amber have been told, or they've been subconsciously told, you don't have to carry out any responsibilities. You can just sit back and get these benefits, and you have these rights. But he has no rights. The few guys that have the rights, well, these are ARC and maybe MOT. That's these guys. They're the few that had all the rights and didn't have the responsibilities, but they were a minority. And that's because they were given the rights and never held to the responsibilities in the first place. So they're there. Guys like that exist. But as you and I know, the ones who can get away with it are already too few and far between. Most average, like, 5 and 6 Beckys and Ambers and Bonquishas and Boom Shikas and Sapphires, they were allowed this. And so they are now demanding the rights without responsibilities. And that's why it can't continue on. It's not sustainable. Where I live now, you have 18-year-olds who, now they understand they got to study if they want to get the grades. But 2 or 3 years ago, cheating was so rampant in grade school, and it was so rampant in universities, that they were perfectly comfortable demanding all of the results and refusing to do any of the work.
Yeah.
They refused to study. They cheated, and they would fight you sometimes if you caught them cheating and did the report. They didn't swing on me, but they swung on some of my colleagues. Swung on them. And so they were disintegrating. And then about 2.5 years ago in the university that I'm in now, it started to change. And in the universities in larger cities, it had changed a while back. So they realized, the central government realized that these towns and cities, they were not putting out any educated and competent people. So what did they do? Then what they had to do was they had to kind of crack down, and they had to get rid of the nepotism and corruption at the top of these universities, because they're government appointed positions sometimes.
Yeah.
So they had to get rid of that. And when they got rid of that, then they were able to slowly, step by step, but very quickly and very noticeably curb a lot of this cheating. And now the students can't even walk into the building on test day with a cell phone or a smartwatch. And the buildings get swept the night before to make sure nobody hid cell phones in any hiding spots. So they absolutely are not allowed to enter into testing buildings with these things anymore, the methods they use for cheating. They're just not allowed. If they get caught with them, now they're taken directly to the dean's office. How did you get this past security? And this has only happened maybe 4 or 5 times, but they all say the same thing. We had to sneak in through the window. So the society is saving itself because of that. Over there where you are, the society's not saving itself. Bonquisha, Sapphire, Amber, and Becky are not saying, okay, you know what? We have been demanding and refusing to produce. We've been insisting we've been insisting that we take and refusing to give. Now, some of Amber's and Becky's are becoming tradcons, and they're starting to talk like this.
Yeah, when I hit that wall, all of a sudden, when a man switch up real quick when I hit that wall. Oh, powerful, man. Oh, yeah, I could get ran through in college. All of a sudden, I want to find a nice, good, gentle man. Girl, please.
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice that they cannot turn tradcon when they're in the 20s. That's what it seems like. So even then, that's why I say they're not really learning their lesson. However, it's kind of on the brink. If the ones in their 20s can start spreading this, not just being that, but spreading it to others, maybe there's a hope, but I don't really think that's going to happen because, again, and this is where we men are at fault. Again, we men have made it too easy. We've simply made it too easy. Yeah, and if we learn, it's easy to say when you're a person that's easily turned off, but if we learn the things that will turn us off, then we won't make it easy anymore. And men pretty much have to learn to not be turned on so easily. And and in order to do that, one of the things they got to do is they got to compare notes. They got to know what games are out there, because fear is a major turnoff, and these men need to know what is out there to be afraid of. They need to hear the horror stories, so that they're not quite as easily turned on, and then they're not as easily manipulated. They need to know these things.
They need to realize that, okay, male desperation, this whole incel stuff you see nowadays in the West, is literally the reaction to social media and dating apps. They have to realize that if they literally go to a sanctuary city or get a passport, go abroad, the girls that they quote unquote really want to get or don't want them, all of a sudden will. You know what I mean? So there's no more like $8 dates, no more being flaked on. All that goes away. Then they realize, oh my God, these girls that we wanted here are really behind girls here. They're standard here. Like you said, a powerful quote, man. Wait, videos. I have right here, man. This quote here, the classic quote, man. Never let celibacy be the reaction to or the reward for being a nice guy. Don't do that. But dudes here are so desperate because the box here in the West is so expensive that they will be the reward for the hope to get the coochie. Because that desperate every day in the morning. Well, good morning, girl. What do you want? What you want? Look good, look good. You're not ugly. In her DMs, in her phone, calling and stuff. People, brothers, understand, okay? There's so many dudes in the girl's DMs, in the girl's Snapchat, whatever, that they have notifications for Chaperone. I've seen this firsthand. They have notifications just for Chaperone. Just for him. They like seeing you as a beta male order, feeding your attention, but when they really want Chaperone, they have it on tap. They saw your text, they ignored it because you're not Chaperone. You're a noise to them, you're background to them. This here in the West is a normal phenomenon here. It should not be. It should not. And what Blackheart is trying to tell you guys is that the accountability, okay, of actions, the balance, okay, between the male and the female, the woman and the man, in the West is not normal at all anymore. It's been pushed so crazy to the freaking overture window, to the gynocentrism, okay, that's gone off the rails, okay? That's why so many dudes here are crying over bottom tier Becky, or bottom tier Brittany, or Maria, the Latina, who's a Latina at Walmart, who is Puerto Rican, which is born in New York, in the Bronx. No, okay? That is not what you guys should be struggling for. Too many of y'all are good behind, well dudes. You're very nice, you're very kind. You're a good behind man. And you were told by the silence and the boomers, okay, the late boomers, especially them, to be a good caring man, you'll get a wife, get a girl. But what's happening? You're getting curved and flaked on. And when you say something about this issue, they're being blamed for it. But understand that they're from a different generation as well. That's all they've known. Times have changed, okay? Changed a lot, actually. It's only getting worse. If you want to get what you were promised you would get, okay, because you were promised this as a child, you know I'm not wrong, you must leave. It's a valid option. It's valid, okay? Understand your money even goes longer in other places. Longer, okay? In Brazil, okay? The US dollar is times 4 in Brazil, times 4. Some places it's times 8, times 7 in some places. Crazy amount. Your money goes crazy long. So understand that leaving the West is a valid option, whether it be for a few months of the year, whether it be in general, okay? Leaving entirely. That is a valid option to do so. So please understand, okay, that you are literally stressed out, crying, begging for scraps, begging for Chaperone's runoffs, okay? That's not normal, bro. It's not. Okay? It's not your fault that you're not a select man because the baseline is so extreme here that you get nothing. Nothing. All right. Continue, Blackheart. Okay, they said it. Okay, Jonathan said in the chat, Blackheart, what skills should a man have when to leave the country, leave the West? Excuse me.
To answer Mr. Neal's question, that really is going to depend on which area of the world they want to go to. Right now, for us here in the Gulf, the good skills are going to be medicine and teaching a foreign language, namely English. Now, Mandarin teachers are also going to be in demand in the Gulf. To a certain extent, they already are. I know next door in Saudi, they are in demand. And now they're going to have a demand for Mandarin teachers that aren't from China because of the coronavirus. So that's one. That's one. So yeah, that's one. Let's see. Also in any of the major cities in the Gulf, I understand that elevator mechanics are going to have plenty of work because they're going to be building more and more tall buildings. They're already doing it. Now you're going to have elevator mechanics to maintain these things. And if you have experience from, let's say, the States, I've heard that in some of these cities here, you can make even $100 grand. Now, I think that's an exaggeration, but you can do well. In other countries, let's say that's not in the Gulf where I am, I'm not really sure. I would actually like for other guys to come and tell me what skills have helped them out when they've settled, so that I could share it with them. But I could speak for this particular area here. When it comes to, I'll tell you one thing that might actually be a good idea. If you can make a sturdy pair of jeans in various sizes in one of these nations, and you can sell them at, let's say, a medium market price, I think that might go over well because um, the kind that lasts long, like what you can get at a Walmart stateside. If you can if you can get those over here at an affordable price for, I mean, not just here, but throughout pretty much throughout the world at an affordable price. That might actually be a good idea. So somebody can come up with just a pair of jeans that are sturdy and they got multiple pockets for working men. I think that would help. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's what I know. That's what I know of so far. Um, but yeah, I'd like for other guys to tell me about other regions. What skills do they have that have helped them in Southeast Asia, as an example?
Yeah,
I
what I'm
love.
gonna do one day for sure on my show is I want to grow the interview process, whatever. And I want to have people from other regions that have left the country, you know what I mean, to come on and tell what they have to leave. Like, for example, someone like me, my skill set, unfortunately, is not more hard skill set, it's more of a soft skill set because they marketing PR and stuff. But I know someone, let's say they do like oil rigging. We're going to oil rig, okay? In Colombia, they're fine. So if you go to Colombia or Venezuela area, you study oil rigging, you'll find something there, okay? Or, of course, languages. Teaching English is always an option, you know what I mean? Pretty much everywhere in the world. But definitely one day what I want to do for sure is have men come on my show who've left a Western region to go to an area that's not in Western for work permanently, or even for like, seasonally. Because that's right there is very important to understand. Very important. That many people here feel trapped because of their skill set, so they gotta know what to have to leave.
Well, if you're doing marketing,
And NPR,
a
yes, NPR.
okay, a colleague of mine, okay, marketing and public relations, is that it?
Yes, both of them, yes.
Okay, all right. A colleague of mine who was from, I think he's from East London, a city in South Africa. He also said he's from Durban. Um, he said that in South Africa, that's a big thing, and specifically in Johannesburg. Now, I visited Johannesburg, and it reminded me a lot of Atlanta. Uh, it certainly did, the good and the bad. It reminded me of Atlanta, but I
Oh
could tell you
man.
that now he told me this about 2 years ago, so it may still be the case, it may not. But you could look into it. The
Okay.
rand is, I mean, the U.S. dollar is certainly more, it's stronger than the rand. But let's say you save a couple of, you save a couple of thousands of dollars. I say about if you save maybe 5 grand U.S. and you go over there, you get off to a good start, even though your salary would be paid in rands once you're there. So it's worth looking into. Let me know
Yeah,
how that goes.
I definitely will because I think I know some South Africa. I think I know one person from there. But like for me, if I could leave to go anywhere, I'll go to like either Peru, Bolivia, probably Chile, maybe. Brazil, no, unfortunately not Brazil because it's getting too westernized. Unfortunately, if these stats actually happening there, but I'll go to even someone like Malaysia, someone like Indonesia, someone like the Gulf Coast. You know what I mean, like that, like that. You know what I mean, I'm open to those locations because I'm being real with y'all. We're not saying that the West, okay, the non-Western societies are perfect, clean. You're gonna get like all the vagina. No, no, we're not saying that. Okay, what we're saying is if you weigh the pros and cons, how can you tell me with a straight face, okay, that the West is still a better option for you as a man who's an upright, good, caring man? Okay, believe me, Bellum Phillip can't leave the U.S. He can't leave. All right, like Battery Bishop can't leave the U.S. All right, they got felonies, but you are as a good man. I'm thinking, man, the passport can leave. Okay, as an option. Continue, Blackheart.
Well, let's see. In your case, you may like you may enjoy visiting Malaysia. Now, as far as working, you may enjoy the Philippines more, depending on the skill set.
Yeah,
Um, and now I will say this: when it comes to teaching English, I don't recommend. I don't want people to get the impression that that's some great gateway for everybody, because being able to speak a language fluently is different from being able to explain it to someone else that doesn't speak it as a first language. That is its own skill, and it's not easily acquired. You can speak it, but that doesn't mean you can explain it. You got to learn how to explain it. Um, and as I've learned from people here thinking they could teach me Arabic just because they spoke it, turned out they didn't even speak it properly. They didn't know the rules.
yeah,
But nonetheless, you can look. Some people are better managers than they are teachers, but they could if they can get the capital, they could start up an English school and they could manage it, hiring the teachers. So it's different skill sets, but right now, what I'm recommending are places where where it's medium, the development is medium, and the dollar goes far in the beginning. Because if you have that, then you may be off. You can pick what you like doing and be off to a good start. A good head start. Um, so that's another one. I mean, some people they just want to have an internet cafe,
Yeah.
and all they got to do is make sure that their computers are much better and faster than what people can afford to buy at the electronics store, um, and that they have a fast connection, um, and some good coffee to serve people in the meantime. Um, so I wish I knew more about business than what I know, but I do want to tell people that they shouldn't think that just because they speak English, they're going to come here and make killing as an English teacher or anywhere for that matter. It's not like that. And in some places, you can't really be an effective teacher without learning the local language.
Yes.
That exists too. So
If you want to
sometimes,
if you want to like teach English, okay, let's say Spanish. Okay, Spanish. Spanish between the different regions is different. Okay, they might have different rule sets, cut certain letters. You know what I mean? Like in Chile they cut letters off the words. In Mexico, different word, different things. So let's say you learn Spanish, right? But especially you learn this Caribbean Spanish. Especially you learn Spanish from like Chile, but in Mexico, you could probably teach there well, but to get to that certain level as a teacher, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Because you're not on that ground level of the local language. See it, Blackheart?
yeah, that could be the case. I mean, I couldn't. I learned Spanish when I was a kid. Begun to forget it since being here, but I never could understand the Dominican, the Puerto Rican, and the Cuban Spanish. So I can't teach English over there because if you don't pronounce your s's, I cannot understand you.
Yeah.
And it just because that's how you pluralize in both English and Spanish. So everybody's got to know their particular limits. I can't, I couldn't go into Egypt trying to teach them English because they don't speak Arabic. It's not even Arabic; it's just Egyptian. That's it. And they'll swear
Yeah.
up and down that they speak the perfect Arabic. No, they jack it up so bad it's ghetto, and there's no polite way to say it. Your Arabic is jacked up. So if you don't, you got to know your limits. I can't do Egypt. That's just absolutely not possible. Um, but some people they actually like it. Then some people, I understand that in Morocco now they're looking for people that can speak English and that can teach it because they're switching from French to English more now. Um, I understand that, and I met some brilliant English speakers on trips that I've taken to Morocco. So I don't think I could teach there because they don't pay as much as they pay in the Gulf. But there's some other people who may not have much debt and they don't need much, and they could go over there and $1,500 a month they could actually spend and save and have a killing saved up by the time they're ready to retire or go somewhere else. So that's that's I understand that Jonathan's asking about being a software engineer, and truth be told, I wish I'd known about that. Um, yeah, wish I'd known about that. Um, Sometimes people just go into import and export. Some people they just do that,
Yeah.
um, and so they simply look and see, well, what is it that people are buying a lot of over here, and I'll just go ahead and import it there and set up a shop that they can go to, brick and mortar shop. Um, so anyway, though, about the getting back to the games that get played,
Yeah.
um, I don't want to tell these men that nobody is going to play these games when they go abroad. I just want them to understand that the system is not churning out these game players like a factory, and they can't necessarily get away with every single thing either. It's worth it to be careful, but um, it's still better than the West. It's just that there will be some people who still look at you as a mark. And so some people may see you and they know you're not from there, and then they want to play games on you.
Yeah.
Not because not it's not that um, it's not that they're not saying, well, because the women back home did this to you, I'm going to do it too. It's simply that they're thinking, well, because your guard down or because you don't know the area, I'm gonna do this to you. That's all. And in some places, like in the DR, they're saying, look, you just can't because some of them. They're always hanging around their brother. That's not their brother. That's their husband, and he's pimping her out to you. I've heard guys talk about that.
Yes.
Uh, they Some people say that that's going on even in the Philippines. Not so much the South. That's a different game there, but some people are saying that. So these dudes need to understand that tricking, they may get more bang for their buck when they go abroad, but I can't in good conscience tell them to go out there tricking, because if somebody's looking to play a game, they're looking for the guys that are out there trying to trick. That's what they would look for. If I wanted, I mean, hell, if I was an Eastern woman and I wanted to marry a Western man, but I wanted to marry one, I wouldn't be looking for the ones that are trying to trick, because I'd be looking for a husband. You see what I mean?
Also, black card. Okay, I got a few people that are black that watch my channel, and I get a lot of criticism for saying black men should leave because it's dangerous for us to leave. You know what I mean? Because the rest of the world sees us so negatively. So just think, you know what I mean? That thing. Okay, Blackheart, as someone who has left the U.S., please explain to these men that they're being lied to. Okay, the whole perception that black men around the world, okay, in every country ever, that's not America, the UK, Australia, they're gonna get it's your backlash, treat like trash compared to the plantation we're on right here in the West. Explain them that it varies between country and stuff. It varies.
I walk right up to police officers here and I ask them for directions, and I'm not afraid.
Oh
and,
my!
and
Wait, what? Wait, what? You can do that?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
Understand this: if I was 3 times as dark as I am, I could still do it.
Wow.
If I could grow force, I could still do it. As a matter of fact, I'm less likely here. I'm in a privileged position above people from the now in the U.S. People from the subcontinent are in a privileged position above black folks, and they're going to make it. They're going to keep it that way, to a point that even some black men might put on that fake accent if they get pulled over. No, 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 no. Here, there is no persecution of black people now. They do think that we're not the most attractive race in the world, and they don't necessarily want to marry us, and they don't want the grandkids looking like us. But there are a lot of black citizens in the Gulf too. They marry each other. But as far as hatred and discrimination, that's not. They don't even understand that concept. To hate and to discriminate against somebody black in a job market, they don't have that concept. Now there is somewhat that based on nationality
And nepotism and stuff.
but well, there's nepotism anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
normal.
it's decreasing here to a certain extent. Used to be nepotism got a lot of citizens out of traffic tickets, and they drove like bats out of hell. Now the traffic is becoming better because they got these cameras, and these cameras don't give a rat's ass who you're related to. Your tag number was caught speeding on this highway. You got that ticket, and you get the notification on your phone number. You got this ticket. So if you loan your car to your cousin and he drives like a bat out of hell, you get the notification on your phone. You got this ticket. You get to go there and say, "Yeah, I loaned this to my cousin. This is his. This is my uncle's name." And they can find out it was your cousin, and they transfer it to him. And if it wasn't him, somebody's going to pay that ticket.
Yeah.
So even the nepotism is going away. Now the discrimination here does sometimes occur based on nationality. It has more to do with your home country's economy. So if you come from a Western nation where things are more expensive, they may pay you more. That is true. I don't agree with it, but it happens. But being paid more because you're black, or less because you're black, they haven't heard of that. There's no discrimination against the black heterosexual male here. They're not trying to tone down your masculinity, and we are seen as being more masculine here. So even here, even in the Gulf, Middle East, a lot of these ladies are looking at brothers. Now, these non-black men are not looking at black women of any nationality as a whole, but and they do say some stuff like, "Oh, she's black, but she's gorgeous." They may say that. The
Yeah.
colorism it is here, but as far as you're not going to face job discrimination. You're not going to face discrimination from cops. That's not happening. That type of thing, that's not allowed. The only thing is they may not think that you're as gorgeous to look at as others. And the thing is, actually, when we come around, sometimes some of the local black citizens get less of an inferiority complex from dealing with us.
Mm.
No, we don't. Maybe it is true in certain other places.
I mean, look what happened to ASAP Rocky. Where was he? Sweden?
Sweet, that's the West. Oh man, I keep telling y'all. Y'all keep swearing I'm wrong. That's the West. There you go.
Yep. See, that's where he went, and he was treated differently. I mean, some Arabs picked a fight with him, and he got in trouble. But the video showed they picked a fight with him. You come over here, if you face anything, it's going to be because you got in a fight with a citizen, and the citizen was connected, and you're not. And that depends on where you go. Now, in Oman, that's not the case. Oman has a lot of black Omanis, for one, and number two, anyone can take anybody to court. So if an Omani picks a fight with you and you whoop his ass and then witnesses that you did it in self-defense, you're not going to go to jail and he just goes home. It's not like that, let's say, in Oman. So no, you're not. Now, when I went to Malaysia, like I said, they have nothing against black people in Malaysia. Matter of fact, it's better there for black folks than it is in the Middle East to a certain extent. So it's just, if you're Nigerian, it's a problem. But Nigerians get discriminated against even in South Africa because they talk cash shit about everybody, even each other. And the northern Nigerians don't irritate people like that. It's specifically the southern Lagos metro area Nigerians that irritate people. And they don't even always mean to do it, but they're just rough and rude like that. So you can go to Malaysia and Indonesia and Philippines, and they're more likely to welcome you actually. So yeah, there's a certain no, the water's fine. I'm really glad I came here. I get upset even here in this country. Every white colleague of mine knows not to give me orders, and the Arabs would back me up in that regard. This is the ones who know me. We can get along, we fine, but they understand I'm about that black power. And they understand I want them and their civilization to be at the bottom one day because they've earned it. And they know they cannot give me a direct order because I'm not going to obey them. Right off the bat, I don't have to. And these Arabs ain't going to make me obey them unless I sign a contract with them. And I don't sign contracts in this country to take orders from anybody from a Caucasian background. I don't have to do it. They don't pay me enough. There's no contract like that. So we're free. If you go somewhere else and you're not free, best believe somebody that's not black is also not free either. But there's nothing specifically reserved for black people where I am. You're more likely to get that in Australia, in Western Europe. They may call you some names in some parts of North Africa. They probably might call you some names. They
got names too, even like East Africa. They call it like what, Jair? What's the J, like Jair? Something like that.
Oh, Jarir. That's specifically in the Somali language. There's that.
Yeah, Samoan. Yeah.
It means nappy. It's not always an insult. It can be just used to describe the strongest of hair. But yeah, there is that term.
Jared's got a contact. I'm gonna get a thing. You know what I mean, they do. Okay, even listen. In Brazil, for example, my homie is Brazilian. All right. I can assure y'all, I get so pushback. Oh, Brazil is so racist. I'm like, compared to America? Okay, first of all, in Brazil, they will kill their races. Blancamiento, in Brazil does not say that out loud. You'll get freaking killed. Okay, don't play with that. They don't play. Because a lot of them are mixed. I mean, they got black cousins and stuff. You know what I mean? They're black, dark-skinned people. You know what I mean? And I've been told so many times here, oh, Brazil is so racist. Oh, my God, it's so racist. I won't say it's not real. Racism is not real. I'm not saying that. But ain't no way George Zimmerman would exist in Brazil. Would exist. Okay? To this day, George Zimmerman still is alive. In my state. Walking around and stuff. He ain't dead. In Brazil, he'd be killed. Colombia, he'd be killed. Okay? This is the truth. This is the truth, man. So a lot of people don't understand that literally people who act a certain way in the US, they still live. But in other countries, that's not the case. All right? If you go like Colombia, you go to like even Peru, even Chile, Bolivia, even Brazil, okay? That's an option for y'all. You would not, okay, I won't say you will not deal with any form of racial issues. But compared to the US, where it's manufactured as an industry to get money, oh please. Oh please. All right? So many of y'all black dudes are told by, first of all, by Felon Phillip and Marquisha Baby Mama Queen, or even white chicks, the Beckys, or the Latinas, that if you leave America, you're gonna have a lot of issues They're going to be more racist. Oh, people, they're trying to keep you on the plantation for a reason. It's just not true. All right? It's not true. These people, okay, understand. These people don't even leave their hoods, don't leave their neighborhood ever. They got incest babies, incest, because they sleep with their cousins. Okay, they don't know the cousins stuff. It's incest. It's disgusting. It's gross. But when you go somewhere else, you realize that people without passport who are stuck here are lying to you and wrong. Do you like art?
Well, yeah, they may tell you that it's so dangerous, and it would be dangerous if you're ignorant. It would be dangerous if you go looking for stuff, but that's because you're dangerous or because you're looking for stuff. You acting like a stereotype. It can be. And granted, even when I got here, I was sent to a small town. Um, I met them. I did not hide my race from them. And the thing was that they later on told me that they had seen bad depictions of black folks in movies, but when they met me, they saw that obviously this wasn't the case. So some people, depending on where you go, of course, I wouldn't try this in China, but here at least, I could say that they're going to give you a chance as an individual and see if what they saw on TV is true. Even though they're very brainwashed by the TV, they will still give you a chance as an individual. Now, it is hard to convince people that white Western civilization is a problem. That might be difficult because they want that blonde haired, blue eyed woman a lot of times. They don't know that Becky and Amber. They may not necessarily know how bad Becky and Amber can get. They've heard that she may talk back or you can't hit her or things like that, but they may not necessarily know exactly how bad she is. You gotta school them on it. And then not only that, you may not be able to convince them that white Western civilization is still racist. They may think you're imagining it at first. That happened to me, but they do give individuals a chance. At least where I am, they give you a shot. Can prove the stereotypes true or false. Um, you face challenges here, but being discriminated against, especially when it comes to law and when it comes to your paycheck, that's not one of the challenges. Um, that's not it. So no, when they're telling you, "Oh, be careful," if they say be careful, do that anyway because you're going somewhere new. But if they want to make it seem like that plantation over there is better, absolutely not, man. If I had to go back to the states now, straight up, if the embassy said we're canceling your passport, you can't stay there. We're just going to give you a travel document to go back stateside, but no more passports for you, so you can't travel. I would ask the government here to let me go and steal a candy bar from a store, let me stay in a minimum security prison. Because if I had to go back to the States and live under them white folks, I would hurt somebody. That's how much different it is here. I might have to deal with it. I mean, I'll put it like this: an ignorant veteran with a low IQ and too much power is still an easier thing for me to face than an ignorant ass cracker over there in the States. And when I say cracker, I'm talking about the racist
Yeah,
specifically.
white people, you understand. He means, we know what you mean. Okay, we know what you mean. Okay, so understand
I'm
my
talking
channel
about
again. Yeah, we know. Okay, my
their
channel.
own negative
Yeah,
stereotype of the poor
yeah, they
white folk.
know. So understand my channel is about men in general, but even y'all know who we're talking about. Y'all know.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm,
we
I'm
got
talking
we
about
got yeah we got
I'm talking specifically about the white supremacists.
yeah the
However,
Pookie, yeah.
I still would not necessarily take too many orders from a regular white person that is racist but thinks he's not. I couldn't tolerate even them after a certain point, and a lot of them act like that. The only good paying job I ever had in the states, I had to deal with a lot of them, and a bunch of us wound up getting laid off 2 days after Obama won re-election because he won the re-election. They won't come out and say it, but that's what it really was about. So I dealt firsthand with job discrimination in the states, and I'm not going to forgive them for that. And it would be better for me to face an uneducated veteran with too many stripes on the uniform here than for me to have to go back and deal with them. Because after a while, I could tell that uneducated veteran, look, bro, this is what they're doing to us over there. They're shooting us and getting away with it, and then lying to you about why they're shooting us. They told me you were a terrorist. I didn't believe them. You think I'm a criminal? I'm gonna rob you at the ATM. At least I can get that through to them if I have enough time to spend with them.
Yeah.
Listen, there is no amount of debate I can have with um, even a lot of white Westerners who think they're not racist. There's no amount of debate I could have that would get them to understand their ancestors were a problem, and now today they're continuing the same problem, and they've inherited the benefits of what ancestors did. So they can't tell us to just get over it. They're actually wrong for just saying that. They'll never get that. In their mind, they're right for saying just get over it. My ancestors were Irish; they were slaves too, you know. So no, no, it's a whole different dynamic. I mean, you can honestly say the Bedouin really didn't know. He didn't. The books were not in front of him. You can't say that for the white Westerner. He didn't know. No, he doesn't want to know. He's not going to let you tell him. He's going to keep interrupting you because he's white and he knows everything. Even if he doesn't hate you, he just still subconsciously thinks he's better than you. You could face that over here, and eventually they remove that from the subconscious mind too. You face it over there where you are, they never remove that from the subconscious mind. And it's like this, even with nationalist Gulf people who look down on other nationalities, even with that, they might look down on the Bengali and the Pakistani and the Indian before they would look down on the black African or the black Gulf citizen.
Ooh. Oh. So you're telling me the whole, oh, you're black, therefore you're going to put you to the bottom is not true?
Absolutely no. Black is not at the bottom here. That's not the case.
There we go. This is why I say what I say. This is why I say people keep swearing I'm lying. It's not people. He's telling you firsthand that your value varies amongst civilization, amongst country. They literally lie to you so much here to keep you here on purpose.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they got us believing a lot of stuff. I mean, they got us thinking that there's no running water, no electricity when you go abroad, stuff like that. No, I've been around, and most cities do have running water and electricity. That's not. You gotta, even in third world nations, you have to go into the countryside to get away from some of these things. I mean, and you may have to drive a pretty long distance depending on which country you're in before you can get away from some of these basic amenities. Now, you may not necessarily want to get sick in all these places, but there are ways to avoid that too. Basic sanitation, and being careful about what you eat. Hell, the locals will tell you what you shouldn't eat. You see,
There you go.
Yeah, they'll do. They may say, well, I know somebody. He was from over here, and he ate a watermelon that had been left out in the open for too long, something like that. Or they'll say, well, don't drink the tap water. You can wash your hands with it, but don't drink it. Stuff like that. People don't get as sick now from food poisoning as they used to. Doesn't really happen. I mean, I had an upset stomach my last few days in Malaysia, but that was because I mistakenly ate a small piece of something that was inedible anyway. It was just an accident. I didn't see it inside the rice, but it was for seasoning, not to be eaten. That's what happened in my case, as far as I can make out. It wasn't. I don't think it was a pathogen, and they didn't cook it well enough. Nothing like that. So they give you these crazy ideas, but no, and every year it gets better than it was before. Every year, so it's no, it's a whole wide world out there for us, and people actually do, to a certain extent. A black man with a skill is valued. Yeah, they do value your black man with a skill going somewhere else. There is a particular value, and we're known for not being arrogant too. So some people, you'll go some places and they will prefer you. That also happens. I'll put it like this. See, we're used to the global white supremacy, where whites on top, blacks on bottom, and that does exist, and it is global. But when I went to Asia, I was on a flight going Dubai to Malaysia. Most of the people on the flight were from Saudi Arabia, though, you see.
Yeah.
My wife and I were treated better than they treated the paler Saudis. The Malaysians did, because the Saudis have a reputation for being arrogant, thinking they're better. Gulf Arabs in general had a reputation, thinking they're arrogant. I'm thinking they're better and being arrogant. And a lot of them really, and in real life, they're not really that bad, but that's their stereotype. So the Malaysian immigration officer was nice to my wife, nice to me, but a Saudi lady she was going to cut me in line. Immigration lady caught her before I did. Said, no, you're over there. Why? because this is not your line anyway. That's my line. He's next. You're not. Wait there, and he's going to call you. You see, so I mean, I was treated better as a Black American, and my wife was too, than the Gulf Saudi was, who's paler than either of us. So that hierarchy is not, it's global, but that doesn't mean there are no exceptions. And as a matter of fact, Southeast Asia is one of the areas where if you're nice to them, they're nice to you, and being white does not automatically put you at the top. That's one of the areas that people have consistently said that that's the case. I know a Black American veteran. He's not working with us anymore, but he used to take vacations when we the school breaks. He would take vacations to go to Cambodia, and he said it was great. He was treated well there, and no skin bleach either, and that specifically in that country. And so you can go to countries where they got skin bleach on the shelves, and they still don't treat you like you're less than human, or treat you like you're less than even white folks. And so what that means is that you're in a position to tell them that they don't need the skin bleach. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Blackheart, thank you so much, man, for all of us, okay? To the Base Brotherhood, to all of us, we thank you so much, man. We spent 3 hours and 40 minutes of you giving us this critical information. Also, to favor in the chat, yes, you can. You need a work visa, though. You need a work visa. Don't know, property in Malaysia, you need a work visa. But thank you so much, Blackheart, okay? This has been an awesome interview, man.
And thank you for having me. Thank you for being patient with me. And thanks to the people in the audience for being patient with me.
Believe me, we will one day have you on again. We have to. We definitely have to, man. And the information, I've been getting DMs. Everyone's like, this dude is incredible. Like, go to his man's channel, y'all. Go to this channel, bro. Down below in the description. Check out his videos. Okay, this man has left the West for a reason, y'all. All right? His videos are so impactful. I'll be real with you. If you're white, you get value too, because we all, to a degree, see the same issue here. So Blackheart, thank you so much, man, for everything. To the fellowship of the brotherhood, you know what I mean? The Base Brotherhood. Guys, this interview series will continue with more guests. All people who are incel, people who are red pill, I'll tell you, people who are scammers. This interview series is just so men as a whole can understand the problem with the culture here. And Blackheart has been the first man to explain from leaving the West what happens. We leave. So, especially the Black man. So understand, this really has been a critical time. This morning, afternoon, late for him, whatever. This information will be eternal on my channel. Go back and listen to it again if you have to. You have to. So Blackheart, thank you so much for coming on, man.
And thank you so much for having me, sir. And best of luck to you and your channel as well, and to the audience members and listeners.
Thank you so much for everything.
Hey, thank you. Don't work yourself hard. Catch you next time, sir.
You too.